Now we're live. Pretty sure.
Fuck it,
Welcome
we'll
back,
do it
everybody.
live.
Yeah, we're doing it live. We're trying. Welcome back, everybody. This is Mark 84 of the Super Civil Servants podcast. My name is Greg, and I have decided that I'm buying a 3D printer. And when I do, you get a Power Rangers helmet. And you get a Power Rangers helmet.
Yes,
I get a Power Rangers helmet. We're all going to get Power Rangers helmets. And we're going to
yes.
them.
Now, I will say there is a process to make these Power Ranger helmets. You can't just 3D print them. And that's
Mm,
why I said I'll send you the file, and that way you can send it to me so I can finish it.
oh, yeah.
So you basically create a mold,
Mhm.
and then from that mold, I would basically need to sand it down, etch it, and everything else, plaster it. I've had several friends here in Texas who got into some sort of business, basically buying helmet kits,
Mhm.
which is basically what you would be making via the 3D printer. And
Sure.
then people would sell those kits to people like me and my friends. We would finish them and then we would sell those.
Hmm. Okay. Well,
That was
you're
very, very fun.
talking right about the alley of what I want to do, or right down the
Sure.
avenue of where I'm talking about going here. I want to get
Uh,
some of that. So
Greg, I'll even take the pink one because if you've read up to the Shattered Grid event, you know that like it doesn't matter. There's no gender assignment with cup power coins, and I'll just leave it at that. So I'll take whatever.
Yeah,
okay.
issue 20.
Mark,
Right?
make that
That's
down
Okay.
for the
See,
pink
Power
he
Rangers
knows
helmet. I
issue
got you.
20.
he knows what I'm talking about. See,
Yeah.
I couldn't call it out. He knows specifically what it was, but yeah.
No,
So
well,
I'm down for a Ranger helmet. All right.
got you. I got you. Yeah, that's gonna be real fun. But you heard him. Hey, we're not even gonna. I'm doing something new tonight, y'all. Everybody,
Mhm.
this is the 84th episode of this show. You
Hey.
listen to it. We don't have to introduce everybody every time. Nathan,
Sure
Clay,
we
they're
do.
here. What's up, everybody? Y'all know the
Like,
deal. We like to talk about all kinds of stuff on this show. Got a lot of things to talk about tonight. Got some penultimates, some premieres, and some previews. So before we get into that, though, let's go ahead and plug the network. We are part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network, where you can find shows 7 days a week. 10 separate shows, starting with World's Finest True Believers, covering graphic novels from any publisher, DC Alliance, covering anything DC, Marvel Alliance, anything Marvel, Star Wars Alliance, anything Star Wars, Ranger Alliance, anything Power Rangers. There's also Slice of Film, covering different films with Katie. Super Civil Servants, which are on right now. We cover just about everything, gives everybody a chance to talk about a whole bunch of different kind of things. Superhero discussions with me and Travis, Batman the animated series right now, and I don't know what the next series is going to be, but we just continue to cover animated stuff.
oh,
And
it's
then on
going
the
to be
weekend,
Justice League. Sorry,
it's more
I
it's
didn't
more than
mean to
likely, yeah,
bulldoze you. You've
it's
already
more than
done
likely.
Batman and Superman. You've
Mhm.
got to go to the big leagues. I'm just
Oh
saying.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you gotta go. You gotta go Justice League, and then you gotta go
Yes,
Justice League Unlimited,
Hmm.
and then after that, I think you should. I don't know if y'all did or anything. Y'all should go
like the Clark
straight
Kent.
to Young Justice right
Nice,
after Unlimited.
Well,
nice.
we put it up to a vote, and I'm guessing based on the people who are listening to it, that's probably the order they're going to want us to go in. Because as soon as we got off Superman, we went straight to Batman the animated series.
Sure.
But I'm just tell me what to watch, and I'll watch it. So, and then we also have Weird Science, DC, and Marvel comics on the weekends, covering comic books currently running in the stores right now. Folks, we also have a Patreon account. Patreon account has 2 tiers. It's got a $1 tier, which is a tip jar. We really appreciate everybody who contributes to it. Helps keep the batarang sharp. And then we have a $5 tier, which does the same thing, but you also get early, exclusive, and ad-free episodes. And we thank everybody who contributes to that as well. Check it out. We got some really fun stuff on there. Some stuff that'll never see the light of day other than what's in this vault. So go check it out. And then last but not least, we are an ad-supported network. There will be a couple ads in this episode. Just bear with us. They aren't very long. That's it. Nathan, did I get it?
You got it. I've got
Yeah.
2 things. First of all, hello, Sarah. I really enjoy your Clark Kent look right there. I think it looks very nice.
Mm-hmm.
And the second thing is, Clay, did you sleep at all? Have you slept at all? Or did you go from my time when I saw you on Geekverse at 4 a.m. my time? So I'm not sure about you. And now you're like back here again. So I just want to know, did you get any sleep? Did you just wake up the podcast
I
again?
did get some sleep last time. Last time I didn't. Last time I didn't get any sleep at all. I think I only technically slept for like 30 minutes throughout the day. So not even
You're
like
an
a hard
animal.
30 minutes. It was 30 minutes over the course of 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
But I did sleep immediately after recording with Travis and everybody over at Geekverse. And I woke up and my head, for some reason, was so heavy when I woke up. I was just like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do anything today. I just want to go to bed. I think it all came rushing back at me from.
I'll have to listen to that episode to see how much you bragged about yourself. I mean, your head just all swollen up. You felt it when you woke up.
Oh man, I have my thoughts about the show or about this episode. So once we get to it, I'll let you know.
I've got thoughts too, so I'm curious. I didn't get a chance to actually listen because I hadn't seen the episode, but I just saw it and I was like, whoa, these like there's Clay again. There he is, 4 a.m. my time, and I'm not sure about Texas time, but I was like, man, this guy is an animal.
Yeah. Hey man, it's passion, right?
It's a passion.
There you go. All right, well, let's get into it. Sarah, what's up?
Oh, I've had an interesting week. I've been all over the creation, it feels like. So I'm ready to talk about some fun stuff because I actually did my homework.
Yeah, we got some real fun stuff to talk about. And you know, it's funny. I got to watch WandaVision, Superman and Lois, and King of the Monsters back to back to back when I got off work.
Yeah.
And it's just under the wire. So I've had like 4 hours of just amazing content for the last little bit. It's been really fun. But before we get into all that, we got just I guess really one little thing to talk about. Well, two. Let's start off, and Clay, man, you're my guy with this. A little bit of Power Rangers news. I love Power Rangers. Love Power Rangers, but I'm not nearly as knowledgeable about as a lot of people are. I watched the show growing up, loved it, and you know I have a little bit of knowledge past that. Nathan, I know you're reading Shattered Grid series, right?
I've read up to Shattered. I still haven't gotten beyond the grid because you know, stuff happens money wise. You know all that good stuff. I've just kind of put it to the back, but I do want to continue reading. But I've read from what was it, 27 or what 25? I don't know, Kyle Higgins' first issue up through the Shattered Grid event, and then my next step will be Beyond the Grid. But I absolutely love it. Check out World's Finest True Believers. There's an episode of Chris and I going through year one. Sorry, Clay, you know, stealing your guys' thunder and stuff a little bit. I really love that run, and it was something different for Chris. So
there you go.
Yeah, it's a great run. Kyle had a total without like counting annuals and everything else. For the main run, it was 26 issues, 25 issues plus the Shattered Grid #1 finale. It was a great run, and I know
Fabulous.
what you mean. Beyond the Grid, you know, the idea is just kind of it kind of feels like it just stumps after. But I will tell you, Necessary Evil is immediately after, and there is a callback. If you want to start at Necessary Evil and see what happens and then be like, oh shit, that seems kind of interesting, let me go back, you can totally do so. It doesn't ruin anything whatsoever.
Yeah, you're right. I've heard there's some cool concepts that come from Beyond the Grid, and then it gets better in Forever, or is it Forever Evil or Evil?
It's Necessary Evil.
There's Necessary Evil. Yeah, and then like that conclude technically the run from like year one to that. It's kind of like that.
Yes,
story.
because they did restart it with #1s with 2 separate issues, one being Mighty, or 2 different titles, one being Mighty Morphin, the other one being Power Rangers. So together it's the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. But it does play a lot with everything that has just happened. So it's not necessarily a jumping on point, but it does its job.
I did hear because like I said, that means technically I got 2 books, Beyond the Grid, and then that Evil one. You said that to complete my series. I did hear that there's a great callback, and they did something really cool with Jason, Zach, and Trini. Instead of them just leaving to go to the Peace Corps, and I'll just leave it at that. Like I got spoiled on it, but I heard they did something really cool with that. So I would love to read that, and I saw the designs and stuff without getting too much in it. And it's a really cool concept, other than them just being like, we go to the Peace Corps, and come to find out when you get older, it's like because they wanted more money, and it's just that's how they got them all. You're like, damn it! But that's neither here nor there. Basically, it's a great run, and I need to finish those 2. But that's good. But what's this news? I haven't heard any other Ranger news.
Well, we briefly spoke about it right before we got on, and I guess from what Clayton's saying, it's not really news. For me, I kind of look at it like this: like I knew the Snyder Cut was coming, so when it was officially confirmed, it wasn't news for me. But for somebody who's not as big of a Snyder fan, it was news for them. I feel like that's the way this is. Hasbro confirms plans to reinvent the Power Rangers franchise. Yeah,
it's the same thing as, like, let's say, everything with Haley Steinfeld being in the Hawkeye show. We saw the set photos, we saw her actually filming the show. No confirmation whatsoever until the investors event for Disney. Same thing happened here. So we kind of got a confirmation from the new Kevin Feige-esque entity for the Power Rangers franchise being Jonathan Entwistle. He has 2 shows on Netflix right now. I highly recommend them. I can't remember the second one. Me and my wife watched one of them just to kind of see like what he was up to as far as like how his style was and everything else.
How do you spell his name? What was his name?
I have him saved on Twitter. His name is Jonathan Entwistle. Entwistle.
Okay. Let's see. See what shows he's on.
So the show, it's called I Am Not Okay With This. It has the redheaded girl from It. He is the main character, and I don't want to ruin the twist. It's kind of like your teen angst drama, but it has a really weird twist with the show itself. If it's the direction that he wants to go with Power Rangers, I am 100% for it. Let's just say that. So with that, I was like, okay, I know where he has an idea of, okay, with teenagers with attitude, he gets it with this show.
Sure.
I'm okay with it. So we learned about that. We learned that Brian Edward Hill, who recently was writing Batman and the Outsiders for DC Comics, he has also written, I think it was one of the X-Men books recently for Marvel, and he also did a DC Black Label book. I can't remember what it was. It was highly raved about, so go check that out. He was confirmed as the writer, but then Hasbro had their investor day just the other day, and they have officially confirmed that they are restarting the franchise of Power Rangers after Dino Fury, which just debuted on Nickelodeon last weekend. So the important thing about this is if you watch from Mighty Morphin all the way to Dino Fury, you're going to see random scenes throughout each one of those episodes that kind of looks a little off. And the reason why is because they use Sentai footage. And what that means is that there is a Super Sentai show in Japan that Power Rangers is based off of. They take that footage. They have a contract with Toei Animation that has, they just take that footage and then implement it into the show so that way it doesn't cost as much. They are officially cutting ties with Toei Animation. So that means whatever they do from here on out is going to be original footage. I think this is very, very exciting. So that way it doesn't have to lean too much with whatever Toei filmed or with the Super Sentai. That means we can get actual storylines and not just be like, hey, we'll do whatever we want. And then it has to kind of line up with the action scenes that were filmed in Japan. It always seemed really weird that they did that to me. But they also confirmed that the contract for Nickelodeon has not been renewed at this point. Not yet.
That's going to lead into my next question.
And they have not yet announced, and not necessarily announced, but they've basically let the door open for whatever they do with this Power Ranger franchise to be basically a bidding war for either Netflix or Amazon or HBO. It's going to be really interesting.
Well, that was going to be my question because my son, last year, the 3.5, it was the year of the Power Ranger, and I'm talking Mighty Morphin, the Dino Charge, the Jungle Fury, to he could name them all. And anyway, Netflix had a lot to do with that, and basically all of them are gone. So I was going to ask and when you said that, I know Paramount Plus is getting ready to launch, so I was going to ask you, is there an association with that? Is that where all the rest of these are going? Or
technically, right now, Paramount Plus has a pretty good relationship with Nickelodeon. A lot of their shows are being put on Paramount Plus.
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
I don't necessarily know if that means that this new franchise will immediately go to Paramount Plus. if that is the case, I will say goodbye to Hulu and whatever I have to get Paramount Plus.
Sure.
But it is interesting because, we did ask this over at Ranger Alliance. We did have a community question saying what service would be best implemented for a new franchise. There are plenty of adult fans who grew up on this who would want to see, something that could possibly end up more along the lines of the content on HBO Max or Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas some people may still want it to be very heavily kid friendly and possibly go on to a Disney Plus or Netflix.
Why not both?
Now, I will say
Disney had it for a while.
Why not both?
Disney had it for a while. Cartoon Network had it for a while, for a very brief moment.
Disney's is hailed as like some of the worst seasons of Power Rangers.
Oh, yeah.
Like they're all like the 4 years of
it-
Disney, like theirs is always at the bottom of the rankings.
It had one of the worst series ever.
Yeah.
Operation Overdrive.
But even if it's on Disney, that could still be okay because Disney does Mandalorian. I mean, I could see it being as serious as something like Mandalorian and being a fantastic show, way more adult.
Go PG-13.
But I will say this. Watch, because I think the show that I was talking about, as far as the Netflix show, I Am Not Okay With This, I believe it's only 8 episodes. And they're not like an hour long. They're like 20 to 30 minutes long. It'll be
bite-sized episodes.
It'll be really quick if you want to watch it. And you can see from the type of director that he is, the kind of visionary he is, it's not something that can be on Disney Plus. So
yeah,
I like the sounds of that.
Yeah,
there's that.
No, but you're
also,
not putting him in a box either. You're saying that,
it can be anywhere, because here's the thing.
Sure.
Although they didn't continue the contract for Power Rangers to be on Netflix because it was taken off, Boom Studios, which is the publisher for the Power Rangers comic book, does have a contract with Netflix. So they still have some sort of connection with Netflix.
Well, Mighty Morphin's still on there, I do believe.
Yes, Mighty Morphin is still on there.
And there's one other too.
There is the Beast Morphers.
Oh yeah, Beast Morphers, the most recent one. That's right.
And I think there is one more that was kind of in between on there. But I think it was just like the most recent one, and then of course Mighty Morphin, just because it's so popular. But I'm still very, very excited about this. There's a lot of possibility with it. As of right now, I think about a month ago or so, Brian Edward Hill said that he hasn't started writing it quite yet, but he has jotted down some notes. I just really hope that they kind of take an outline from what the comics are, because the one thing through reviewing every single episode of Mighty Morphin right now with Jake, Tony, and Joe, we can see, now that we are adults, these characters do not have any personality other than the very stereotypical 90s shows. Kimberly
Very
is the
loose.
dunce.
Not doing a lot of writing for the show.
She's literally the oh my god mall girl.
Yes. Billy is all he does is word vomit,
nerd,
like smart words, and it's not really clever. There is a bunch of stereotypes on those characters, and when you read the comics, they have been able to elaborate on their character and actually make them likable, have really good personalities with them. So I think that they should really look into that when wanting to either reboot the series or at least find what I was talking about earlier with Blue Beetle, before we started recording, is keep it as a footnote saying, hey, this is where we can kind of start. Doesn't necessarily need to be Mighty Morphin, but we can take reference to how they're treating these characters and write it on screen.
It's respect to the fans when you do stuff like that. I feel if you don't have to follow it, but nod to it, at least acknowledge, give some kind of thing there. See, I haven't read the comics, so I'm sure if they did pull from the comics, it would be great. I'm hoping they pull from like James Vanderbeek's short movie, a little YouTube clip. Yeah, that's the one that I want. The direction I want Power Rangers to go. I think it'd be awesome. I don't care. It's not for kids. I grew up Power Rangers too. you know.
I'm going to go one step further, Clay, and I'm going to say I want them to follow that as the blueprint. Like, yeah, you can elaborate, but like, let's loosely adapt that entire story run that I was talking about, where they, where Power Rangers put online that you can get like all 6 of the, or the 5 collections, year 1, year 2, or what was it, 5 of them? Like, let's follow that story, like adaptation, just like the MCU does. Let's follow that as your loose guidelines and then put stuff in there, because you're right. That I said it on, I'm not trying to plug my own episode, but on World's Finest with Chris, like it is literally like every character, they still feel like the 90s version from what you grew up with, only they are actually rounded, full 360 full characters, and like they get full personality. They feel just like the same people they were, only you actually get a full 3D model. And like it's like I said, I'm not trying to sit here and SSD too much, but like it is a really great run, like really great.
Yeah.
But what do you think, Sarah? I see you back there just quietly contemplating stuff. Like,
she just wants to see another Jason David Frank long-haired Green Ranger. That's all she wants. That's all she wants.
No. Look, I grew up with the OGs. I'd come home, I'd watch them all. So I would love to see it rebooted and have like more well-rounded characters. So I mean, I think it'd be great. I think it'd be refreshing. So I mean, I haven't read the comics, but
I think they'd have to. They wouldn't get away without having more well-rounded characters. Having like
and I think that's the one thing. And plus, being older, you expect a character that has a little bit more depth to it. Instead of like the kids, they just see it for face value. It is what it is. They just want to see more from fight.
Yeah, so, one of the biggest things that I am realizing now, rewatching it now that I'm 29 years old versus the 5-year-old that I was watching these shows, is the 90s had this really weird thing with food humor and like dumping food on everybody's face, slapping them with pies. Like there was just like every episode it has happened with Bulk and Skull.
Bulk and Skull, you mean that's not normal?
Like it, and I understand, like, okay, it can be funny, but to do it with every episode, it kind of gets tiresome. And they kind of play along with the music to kind of like push it towards like, hey, you should laugh at this, you should laugh at this. And
Bulk and Skull's theme, I can hear it right now.
Yeah, exactly. And I know now, like even watching a kid show, on Disney or on Netflix, they don't do that anymore. They don't have to rely on, the ripping of pants or the food humor or a kid will fall on his face every once in a while, and that's funny.
Did you say that it's Nickelodeon that has this now, right? Like they're the ones buying it through. Well, that is actually promising, because one of their most hailed series is Avatar, and Avatar: The Last Airbender, and then I heard they're doing like a whole studio thing, like booming off into that, and then Legend of Korra, which I know kind of fell off, and they put all the rest of the episodes on the internet, whatever. People still found it, still liked it. But the Turtles from 2012 that I'm always raving about, the CGI version, we were watching. My son had it on the living room. Me and my wife were sitting there watching it, and there's this episode where one of the Triceratons come, and like he's lost his mind. Basically, he gets his mind back, and he's hanging off the top of the Statue of Liberty. And like Raphael's trying to help him up, and he would rather die than get help from an enemy. And let's go, and falls to his death. And my wife's like, Jesus, because like it doesn't show it, but like it go, you know what I mean? Like hits it, and you see the birds fly off and stuff. And then it does the recap on the next episode. And she's like, my God, this show's a little darker. And I said, no, this show's for everybody. It's implied, it goes, but it's storytelling for everybody. You can watch it at all ages. So what I'm getting at is this makes me feel a lot better too. Even if they put it on like some kind of network TV, you could still beef it up to where the storytelling is, you know what I mean? Like without getting all graphic or going overboard. Like if you wanted to put it on Netflix and go just straight, PG-13 or what, like I'm there for you, but
do it.
You could still do, you know what I mean? You could work around and keep it at the 7 level. What is it? The YG 7 level or whatever they call that, and still keep it compelling.
I just saw, because I am looking at Jonathan Entwistle's Twitter right now. In his bio, he does show. He says creator and director of Netflix's the other show that I was talking about that I couldn't remember the name of, and I'm not entirely sure how PG this show is, so I don't know if y'all need to bleep me out or anything. But the show is called End of the Fucking World. Like
language. I'm just kidding.
That is. But that is the his I will say his humor. I get it. It's nothing that is slapstick. It actually goes along with what the content is for. And I'm overall just like very, very excited over like this whole new rebooting of the franchise, because it means that, because my biggest thing is that I always felt that Power Rangers was kind of hindered by the fact that we always have to follow suit after Japan. They had to come out with something, and then Power Rangers would come out with something. And we, as in Power Rangers, if you look at the amount of shows that we only have about half of the shows that the Super Sentai has, because Power Rangers hasn't always adapted everything that Japan has made. There's one that Japan has that had they were trains. The characters were trains, and their morphers were little toy trains that they put on their wrist, and they could swap. And so the Red Ranger could turn into the Pink Ranger whenever he wanted to, and he could turn into the Blue Ranger whenever he wanted to. And it was so cool. And they weren't necessarily labeled as red, blue, green, purple, whatever. It was all numbers. So he was Ranger 1, Ranger 2, Ranger 3.
Locomotive 1.
Yeah. And so that was one of my favorite seasons over at the Super Sentai. And I really wanted it to be adapted into Power Rangers, and they never did. So, I no longer have to worry about that. Instead, Power Rangers can come up with their very own original idea, and maybe it can be on the flip side where Super Sentai could be like, oh, that's a really cool concept that we never thought of. Maybe
we're going to Americanize it. Well, on the flip side, though, we're going to lose out on the spectacular suit work, because everybody knows when they cut to the Sentai footage, you can tell how much cleaner and crisper those suits were. And even Tommy's shield on his chest didn't look like it was made out of gold aluminum foil, when they did the American stuff. Because God, it looks so much better when they cut to the Sentai stuff. But I gotta give Saban credit though, because this guy took this footage that nobody did and cut it in. He literally revolutionize that and put that in people's minds where you could do that. And I mean, look at the company Saban now. They're a huge company. They made their money. They sold. You know what I mean? They revolutionized that cut and splice. Kind of mix it Americanized with that stuff in there. And like I said, let's just hope that I'm in agreement. I know we're spending a lot of time on this, but I think it's a really cool idea. It does make me feel better that they're going to shop it around, and you can have a consistent, full-on serialized storytelling, and there's no being handcuffed to what had come before that and trying to bend your story around it.
Yeah. I mean, you got anything else you want to say about Power Rangers?
No, just overall. I know
check
that
out Ranger Alliance.
Yeah, there is no definite. They have not confirmed whether it will be directly with comics as far as what we were talking about adapting, but they did say that it could lead up to something in the future. So it's something to look forward to.
Universe building.
It's exciting. It's exciting. I'm looking forward to
it.
Oh
yeah, I do want to say this. It's not just a TV show. They're working on movies. They're working on TV shows. They're working on animation. They're working on children's TV shows as well. Nice. So it's going to be an entire adapted universe, not just one singular thing.
I think they'll be pretty successful to do it that way. Cater to everybody. You can have all the different kinds of versions. If you don't like this version, just don't watch it. Go watch that version.
I can already see a 2-part animated crossover in my head, because I have both runs where the Power Rangers they meet the Justice League, or where they meet the Turtles. I can see both of those in animated form right now in my mind hole, and I would love it.
In my mind,
I'd like to see Rangers and Turtles. That'd be cool.
Yeah, there's the comic's
that would
great.
Be so cool.
The trade paperback of that is actually great. It's a really good story. Let's just say Shredder cuts. There's a whole cool stuff in there. So if you like Turtles and you like Power Rangers, definitely give it a shot.
Yeah, definitely.
Anything with turtles in it's good. I don't know why. Sure. It's really good. Well, sticking with Hasbro real quick, I did get a box. A Hasbro box.
What's in the box?
I see that.
That I want to open up right now. But while I'm opening it up, since people will be listening and not just watching, let's talk real quick about this Paramount stuff. We touched on it a minute ago.
Brad Pitting you.
Paramount Plus. You Brad Pitting me?
Yeah. What's in the box? 7. But he's out there.
I
Just
don't
on
think
the
it's
field.
that.
All right. Let's talk about this Paramount Plus because I have CBS All Access. If you have CBS All Access, does it just automatically switch over to Paramount Plus for you, or do you have to re-sign up for it?
I would assume that it would basically do
yeah.
what it exactly what it did with HBO Go and HBO Max, or the same thing with somebody else did it. I can't remember exactly who, but it's the exact same. You'll just, once it actually turns into, that's a War Machine helmet. That's nice.
Nice.
Take it out of the box. Take it out, Greg. Take it
Once
out.
it actually updates.
Take it out. Take it out. Take it out.
Once it actually updates as far as like the browser or your app or whatever, it'll probably tell you to sign in again, but you'll still have the overall access of it.
The great part about it, I think it's going to be fantastic, and they're kind of following the footsteps of HBO Max here. It says service will feature early premieres of Paramount Pictures theatrical releases, the full CBS feed, documentaries, sports with NFL games, European and South American soccer, reality shows, children's programming, 24/7 CBS programming, 200 local affiliate feeds, and backed by a library of 30,000 television episodes and 2,500 movies. Now, here's the crazy part. They're doing a 3D CGI movie of Rugrats, which they're rebooting, and iCarly.
With the entire original cast for Rugrats.
Live action versions of Dora the Explorer and Fairly Odd Parents. 10-episode spinoff of Criminal Minds. So they're doing a whole lot of reboots on stuff. There was one, who is it? Is it Frasier? Yeah, Frasier.
Yes, Kelsey Grammer's
coming back.
Frasier.
Recording
he's coming
episodes.
Back.
Yeah. The show ended like 26 years ago, didn't it?
Yeah. It ended a while back. I think it
97,
sorry, Sarah, I'm gonna make you feel old again. I think
I know I'm old. That's fine. I have no problem with that.
I saw you in the chat. No, but I think that show ended when I was going into middle school. If not,
that would have been the way it was for me too. Yeah, because what'd you say? 90? Because 96, I would have been in 6th grade.
I think it was 97 or 98 when that
was
thing
it really?
Ended. Maybe.
Oh my God. I may have been in
just
like 2nd grade then.
No, maybe it came into early 2000s. I'm not sure. I did watch it, but I cannot remember when it ended. I don't know.
Yeah, I watched it.
Oh man,
so it's gonna be interesting.
I guess I just watched reruns then.
Maybe I didn't. No, because maybe I'm wrong.
I watched it as they came out, so I didn't watch reruns.
I don't know.
It was about around the same as Cheers.
I feel like I was a freshman or something. So maybe 01. Maybe 01 it ended. I don't know.
Man, y'all are just making me exude youth here.
Y'all are babies. Oh my gosh, that's such babies.
Hey,
I'm okay with this. I am definitely okay with this.
You're babysitter.
Sarah, what do you think about this? Star Trek universe is going to get 3 new series, including an animated pitch for kids, Star Trek Prodigy.
Bring it up. Yeah, well, I mean, they've been talking about Prodigy for a minute, so I'm just looking forward to.
Great band.
I need more. Yeah. I'm just waiting for more. I just want more Star Trek. Period. I mean, I just, I can't wait for for Picard to start back. I haven't even looked to see when that one's supposed to start back. And Discovery. Oh my gosh, I just want more of that. And please more Lower Decks. Please more Lower Decks.
Yeah, I enjoyed the Lower Decks. That was fun.
Oh my gosh, that was a little treasure right there. That was just a nice little, I don't know, and I don't understand why some of these so-called hardcore trekkers, Trekkies, whatever they want to call themselves, they didn't like it. I'm like, it was fun. Well, they're like, well, it's poking fun. Yeah, hell yeah, it's poking fun at it, because it's like, when you look at the ships, you're always up here. You're never down here. So, and I think that's what was so fun about it, because especially with all the little dimensions and allusions to, certain things, it was just, man, I was loving it. I was loving it. Absolutely loving it. I want more of that.
For me personally, besides the Calvin Timeline movies, minus maybe the first one, it's my favorite thing of my favorite Star Trek thing.
Well, you never really got into Discovery, did you?
But I haven't. No, I didn't really get into Discovery. I'm not familiar with a lot of the old movies. Like I just watched Con right before we did Into Darkness on your recommendation.
And I did see that in the theater.
It was fun.
They re-released that. That was really.
I still, the only time that I would watch Star Trek was those random nights that I would play video games all night and be like, I'm not tired, but I don't want to go to sleep and I don't want to play video games anymore. What am I going to do? And then there would be random reruns of Star Trek on like Fox or WB at like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Well, back home in Greenville, there was like one of the over the air channels. I can't get up here in Raleigh, but it was I don't know, like a Heroes and Icons channel or something like that. I mean, they showed like everything. It would start like at 7 or 8 o'clock of the original series, Next Generation. It would go Voyager, DS9, and then it would show Enterprise. And then if I happen to stay up late enough, I could catch an episode of Xena. So if you're talking about like absolute exhausted the next day, did not care, that was me.
I think
that was so awesome.
I think it's the Next Generation that I have the entire series of. I just haven't I haven't opened a single one yet.
That's one of the more popular ones because it was in the 80s. So that was like the one that just came on. I want to was it CBS, I think, maybe? No, I can't remember which one it came on because I remember seeing that originally when it was. I wasn't quite old enough for the original series, but I was there for Next Generation.
when I saw the first trailer for Discovery, I was wowed. Like I was like, holy crap, what is this? I really want to see this. And I was always a fan of the J.J. Abrams ones. The only one that I haven't seen the last one yet. And I think what kind of like got me depressed and like not wanting to see it was the fact that God rest his soul, I can't remember his name, Anthony who played the Russian, he had died.
What's his last name? Yelch? Anton Yelch?
Anton Yelchin?
The
one that played Chekhov.
Yes.
That was terrible.
He passed away due to the malfunction of his Jeep. And I was just like, gosh, that completely sucks. And I just completely dropped off the Star Trek like bandwagon, not necessarily bandwagon, but I just didn't really pay attention to it afterward.
Bandwagon fan.
So,
well, me, I mean, a lot of times we have to think about it too, because even that it's kind of hard watching some of the original series movies, and even when you do see like Beyond, because it does have a nice tribute to Leonard Nimoy.
Yeah,
so you realize a lot of these characters, a lot of these actors are gone, and it's just like, I just can't imagine when, all these characters are not here or all these actors aren't here anymore. It's just, I don't know. It's just crazy. I mean, it's just, because, they're getting older and, when you, especially with like the original series, I didn't really watch that a whole lot, but now when I go back and see it and you see all these, how they're all young and you're just like, oh my gosh, it's crazy.
Well, yeah. And that brings up the whole thing with, what was it? Picard, they're working on a third season, I think, or it's still up in the air.
I think they are. I want to say it's
Patrick Stewart is getting pretty high up there in age, and it's going to be
Patrick Stewart.
Yeah,
Sir Patrick Stewart. And it's going to be a sad day when he goes. But it comes to mind of like, is he just going to work until he croaks, or is it just going to be like, hey, I'm done with this. I need to have some time to live my life for the last few years or whatever.
Well, I can imagine the day that Shatner passes. I mean, I just, because Leonard Nimoy, that was a big one, that was big.
Yeah.
But, one day Shatner's not going to be here. And I'm like, oh my gosh, the OG Kirk. I mean, how can you not have a world of OG Kirk?
Yeah.
So.
Bill Shatner is such a give zero F's kind of just national treasure. Like when he goes, there's going to be so many more F's given in the world because he don't give not one of them. And he's the definition of like the old man. Like he's just going to say what he wants because he don't give a shit about nothing. And I don't know. He cracks me up when I see some of the stuff he says.
Yeah,
like, all
absolutely. Right. But I mean, I would love to see another Star Trek franchise. If like the continuation of the Kelvin, because like I've always said, because it deviated to a different timeline, there's like a multitude of new stories that you could create using the same characters. But then also I really enjoy the fact of like streaming series now. They're so cinematic. It's not like it used to be before. That's the thing I loved about Discovery, because, and of course there was a lot of criticism on that because this is not Trek. To me, I feel like it is Trek. It's a different story. It's a different it's just a different road you're going down.
Right.
But it's still Trek. To me, I think it still embodies the whole ideal that Roddenberry created. So, I mean, I think there's just like massive possibilities, but I just wish Trek was just marketed a hell of a lot better than, because, Star Wars or Marvel or, they have the marketing teams.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if
I think it will be now with Paramount Plus. They're actually trying to be a competitor, like with the stuff they're bringing in and the licensing they're taking in to get stuff that people don't have, and the IP that they do have, whether it be old or new. Like, first of all, what caught my attention is another Beavis and Butthead movie, because if they can do another one as good as Do America, like, I'm gonna be tickled. I'll be the 30, whenever it comes out, the 30-something-year-old at the movie theater joke, and just in there chuckling at fart jokes and all that other stuff, just like I'm a kid again at Cornholio. Like, I'll be in there dying. So I get what Sarah's saying, and like, since they do have Star Trek, I think this is an opportunity to not reboot, but because they're doing all this stuff, like, it's not gone away, but to really.
There's so different, too many different worlds you can go into.
Yeah, well, to push it back in the public eye of like you said Discovery is beautiful, and I love the Kelvin timeline like Greg, and we're both more Star Wars fans. And what Abrams, giving credit, because he said his goal was to get Star Wars fans into Star Trek. Well, that was me, and if Discovery's like that, and Picard and stuff, like, I think you're going to see a new push for like a new marketing, so that, like I said, they want to be a competitor, be like, oh, you guys, this is your Star franchise, well, we got it too. And I'm not sure who's got Battlestar Galactica, but like, they're going to start pushing these more marketing, like Sarah said. I think they're going to try to push it out there.
Battlestar Galactica right now is Netflix, but
somebody's got a new one. They're supposedly they're going to reboot the franchise. They're doing a new one.
Yeah. But it does beg the question, Nathan, because I know that you were always, a big person to argue this.
Let's hear it.
Is today's generation ready for a Beavis and Butthead movie?
Yeah.
Here's the thing, guys. They're never.
I have been thinking about that. Every single time I say it. Because I understand. I say it a lot. And my wife even brought it up.
Now I think about it. I don't know if this generation
it's one of those things like ums and ands and likes. My thing is, hey, here's the thing. And I hate that I say it. I absolutely hate that I say it. But ever since you started doing it last week, I couldn't stop picturing that stupid book in my head. So is today's generation
not if they do it 90s style, to where like,
oh no, they would
like all and what's bad is they were never like, you know what I'm saying, like they were never over the top.
What are you gonna say, Nathan?
They weren't
they weren't like I don't know, like, you're not like in the PC culture we live in now, in the cancel culture and the mob culture, like, people are looking to be offended. They're gonna be I can't believe, like, they're
Cornholio. What? Are you serious?
I think you showed now Do America to a 17-year-old Twitter keyboard warrior
Instagram and all that.
They're instantly canceling Beavis and Butthead. It'd be 30 fucking years later, and they are out. We're canceling these motherfuckers. We want them erased. We want them fucking erased. Literally take your eraser out and erase all that shit out of there, because. So I like for them to do it. Like, I would love it if they appeal to like literally us old. Like I said, I'll be the 30-something guy in there laughing at fart jokes and needing TV first bunghole and all that other shit. But like, if they're in there making, like, for instance, gender neutral pronoun jokes, and like, so I'm gonna be like, come on, guys, and like, you know what I mean? Like, we see enough of that shit in the real world. I don't know, but I don't know. Basically, what it boils down to is no, I don't think the world is ready for a straight up just like, let's continue on. Because remember when they tried to redo it in like 2010 or 2011, they were making, instead of music videos, they were making fun of Jersey Shore and shit, like all the reality TV shows. It only
lasted like what, maybe half a season.
Yeah. And then you can buy the season online where you can get the episodes that you didn't see. But yeah,
I don't think it takes to a crowd these days, to be honest with you. I think if you make a movie like that, the only people you're going to see in theaters are people who watched it when they were younger. Yeah,
sure, right.
And one of the biggest things with Paramount Plus now is the 45-day mandate for when they are going to be putting movies from theaters onto Paramount Plus. I think that is very, very cool. It's kind of the in between for what HBO Max was doing. You have 45 days, you have a month and a half to build all of your money. Most movies nowadays and most companies will say, hey, you know, we can give this movie maybe a month and a half until we are basically like, hey, that's all the money we're going to make. Because it's always those people that are like, hey, we need to go see this movie now. That's where you get your money. And I think it's very, very smart, because then if a big Marvel movie comes in, oh, you don't have to worry that much, because then you're going to be getting all your money from your streaming service that everybody wants to go watch it there, you know?
Okay.
Because you have movies like Top Gun Maverick coming out over there. You have the next
Give
James
it to
Bond.
me. Right there, like internet high five. I see you
have-
over there. I'm ready for
You
it.
you have Mission Impossible 7 coming out on Paramount Plus.
Ready
You
for that
have
too.
A Quiet Place 2. Like that alone, if I'm not able to get my vaccine, you know, in time.
Shit, you're making me reconsider getting Paramount.
Look, they even said they're doing 60
I'm telling you,
minutes.
it's good. It's a good service to have.
I told my wife after I saw the trailer for Rugrats, I was like, I may have to.
Oh no, that monstrosity!
Oh, are you kidding me?
Oh my god, what they do? They did my boy dirty. All right, I remember Rugrats back in the day, so they done him dirty. In my opinion, they done him dirty.
Well, Tony had the
voices and sounds sound a little wonky, and the animation.
It's all the same. It's all the same actors.
Well, they sound funny. They sound funny. I don't know. Maybe
I don't know. I thought they
know.
sounded the same. I think it was just the animation that made it so jarring.
Maybe that's probably what it was.
But you also have Jackass 4 coming out in Paramount Plus
minus
as well.
Bam Margera.
Yes,
yeah, he screwed up, didn't he?
Man, but I hope that dude gets some help.
We have the Paranormal Activity that was just announced going to be on Paramount Plus. And
rebooted or like Paranormal Activity 7? Isn't there like 6 of them now?
They said it says here Paranormal Activity 7, but I think 7 is the reboot. But they're still calling it 7.
So it's like Jay and Silent Bob shit, right? Where Paranormal Activity 7, the reboot to the resnooch or whatever Kevin Smith would say, you know.
And I'm pretty excited about this, and it makes me question on whether I should get Paramount Plus. And I think that with the prior conversation we were having, if Power Rangers does say like, hey, we're going to be on Paramount Plus, game over. Like,
yeah, take my money.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
It'll give me a reason to catch up on all the Star Trek stuff, because then I'll have it and I'll be forced to be like, hey, I need to use this app for something, you know.
Honestly,
see, and that's the thing about too, because if you ever watch the Next Generation series, then you can watch the Next Generation movies, which that's Generations, First Contact, Insurrection, and Nemesis. So First Contact is my favorite. I love that movie. But,
and I'm seeing here, and I know that Greg, you were talking about it, how Dora the Explorer is getting another live action thing.
This is a show, though. I think a live action show. Yeah.
I wonder if it'll have the same actors from the movie that they attempted to make. Hey, to each their own. To each their own. Sure. I know that there was a lot of authentic people of color in that movie, so I'm grateful for that. But did y'all ever consider that Dora the Explorer is vision impaired? I saw this TikTok, and it clearly, like, she's not able. She asks the audience where everything is. She's unable to see it. She clearly has a seeing eye monkey who is able to walk her around everywhere.
Guide her everywhere, yeah.
And then the fox is literally right in front of her face, and she's unable to see it until he's like right up in her face. She's completely blind.
We need to write Nickelodeon, see if they know about this.
Completely blind.
Yeah. What's funny is they've already done the Dora the Explorer movie. I think a Fairly Odd Parents live action show is going to be kind of crazy. Like, how do you do that? I don't know if y'all are familiar with Fairly Odd Parents, but I don't know how you do that live action.
Well, if you ever watched that show, that show was funny. Like that animated show, like it was hilarious. Like,
it's not bad.
Oh, hilarious. So like, how do you do that in live action? Like, that's the one that raised my eyebrow. And I went, really? Like,
but didn't they already do a special where it went live action?
Not that
I thought it was an episode where they kind of crossed over or something. I know what you're talking about.
They crossed over with Jimmy Neutron. I know that because
Yes.
that was like one of my favorite episodes. But the guy, Drake
We're
Bell
such nerds.
from Drake and Josh. I am pretty
I don't know who
sure.
that is.
I'm pretty sure he played a live action Timmy Turner, whether it was like for a special like commercial or whatever. They did something with it.
Yeah.
I'll have to look it up, but I'm pretty sure it happened.
It'll be interesting.
Alright.
Like I said, I've already got CBS All Access, and now that my wife knows she can get, I think it's The Young and the Restless or whatever soap opera she has on there, there's no way I'm getting rid of it. So I might as well just get ready to have Paramount.
You're
What's the
done.
price
Same
point?
price. It's the same
What's the
price.
price point for Plus? What's it going to be for Paramount Plus when it changes?
Well, there's two. There's $9.99 for the full for everything, and then there's a full, there, and it says a full size tier, or excuse me, a foothill size tier is coming in June with ads, less news, and sports for $4.99.
Okay,
I've got the
honestly,
no ad one because I just can't handle it. I just can't.
like
I
I-
just it's the only option they had for CBS All Access, I think, or it's just the one.
No,
I
they
picked.
did. They had the two, but I mean, it's,
Did they?
I was
Okay.
like, I was like, I think it's like the $9.99 because I'm like, I don't care. I can't be in the middle of something and just, if I have a
That's great.
choice.
See, commercials never bothered me. I mean, I grew up with commercials.
Doesn't
It
bother me
sucks.
either.
It sucks sometimes.
I'm like my
when they
kids. I'm
commercials,
spoiled now.
it
If
gives
I'm
me
going
a
to be
chance
paying
to,
for it,
you
I
know,
might as well be paying for it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm going to get
Well,
all
I'm
the perks.
thinking about canceling Netflix. Honestly, I can't remember really the last time I really picked up. My wife watches old Criminal Minds episodes on
Yeah.
there. I want to save it for Invincible. The Transformer stuff, like it was good. Like it didn't. Like
Invincible's going to be on Amazon.
Is it? Oh, okay. Well, then, never mind then. See, like that's just another strike against it. I thought it was
Yeah.
going to be on that one. So there is good stuff on them. They're getting content, and like The Witcher, when that comes out, I'll get it again for that next season.
Umbrella
and
Academy.
Umbrella Academy and
I just
stuff.
heard about the
But
third season. Yeah.
you know what? As much as it's so weird how the progression of us as a society has went, because we all grew up in the, if you didn't catch that shit on TV, you shit out of luck. And then you got the TiVo thing, but you had to be rich to get your TiVo to be able to watch TV and stuff. And then what was it
Time
like?
stuff on the VCR and recorded.
What was it like?
No,
8?
see-
Yeah. Well, 08, it was like everybody wait till their favorite season came out and go get it and binge watch the shit out of it. You watch every DVD disc and you traded your friend and let him watch it. And then we could go through it, you know what I mean? And it's like,
I mean, I remember
comes out with
Netflix
a
when you would
dump
like
model,
get
and you're
the
like, yes.
The
Yeah,
DVDs
you know what I mean? But
from
DVDs
Netflix.
in the mail.
Yes,
I
in the
mean,
mail. Yeah.
Well,
Digital never work.
I'm such a fan. I'm such a fan of this programming once a week thing again. I really am. I really like the water cooler thing. There's a lot of time, like I'll binge, like on Netflix, I binge watch a show, but I couldn't distinguish between an episode to episode. It was basically just like a 13-hour movie to me, where everything just kind of bled together. And you would talk about certain things like Daredevil. Everybody remembers the hallway scene, but can you tell me which episode it is? It's episode 2, right? I know this is me guessing.
I was gonna say 4. Like,
see, like see what I mean? It all just blends together. But that's one of the most outstanding scenes in all of Marvel Netflix. But it just runs together with you the rest of shit. You know what I mean? Because it's just like WandaVision. I can recall like what happened on one episodes, and when we did Titans,
I think it's a recency thing. I think in 6 months you won't be able to remember exactly what happens in every episode.
Okay.
But
I get a better chance.
Something.
There's a better chance because each week you're talking about one specific episode more and more. Like
Yeah.
each week we've dissected each episode, and I've heard your thoughts, whoever's come on there, so it kind of sticks in your brain more. That water cooler, water. Sorry, my Midwest came out. That water cooler talk, that shit really does help.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited for it. Like I said, I heard about this on a podcast I listen to. It's the Woody and Wilcox show. Absolutely hilarious podcast. If you get a chance, check it out. And they were talking about the great stuff on Paramount Plus, and I was like, well, dang, I gotta talk about this. And I guess since, like I said,
it kind
I'm
of
already
makes me
on
want to
CBS
get it just because. Like
Good,
we'll still be all good fun and like be highbrow comedy. You know what I mean? Because like I remember being a kid and being like, oh, this is all. I don't even know if I'm smart enough to watch this show and stuff. And then like, as I watched it, I got older, I'm like, oh, no, I get it. But it's just like, I want it to be more of that kind of.
As of right now, I am living the life because technically right now I am a student, and students get all sorts of discounts when it comes to entertainment stuff because most entertainment, websites like Netflix, Hulu, they're like, hey, and students need to wind down and they need to relax and enjoy some entertainment. So Hulu does discounts for students. I know Amazon does as well. Eventually I hope things like a Netflix or even a Paramount Plus can give out those discounts to students. So that
What do you
way I
want
can
to be when
take
you grow
advantage of
up?
them. I thought I told you this. I am going to school for
Yeah,
audio
that's not
engineering.
last
I'm going to be a professional
Yeah.
podcaster, Nathan. Okay.
That's right.
Nice.
Hey, whenever you start making it big, I'll quit my job immediately. All right, to come in, if I can make a paycheck to support my family, I'll be here every day.
There you go.
I'll even follow FCC guidelines, and you can bleep me and all that stuff. I'll make a career out of it, buddy. Let's go.
Nathan Hines is in the chat room, man. You should egg him into
Hello.
coming on. He
Huh?
Hines is in the
He
chat
doesn't
room.
care.
You should egg
He
him into
doesn't
coming
care.
on.
I was going to say
He says Red Ranger is the best Ranger.
He
which-
probably
Hey, Travis.
Travis is probably being a better student than I am because I'm
Mhm.
actually supposed to be doing homework right now.
Mm,
Hines is probably doing homework right now.
No, he just doesn't do movie reviews. He's like, F these guys and their movies. The only movie I'm watching is the Snyder Cut. I'm not watching anything else for the show. F these guys. If it had Stephen Amell in there, hey, if we watch Turtles 2 where Stephen Amell is Casey Jones, like,
I still
you know,
haven't
that
seen
new
that movie.
the new version, like, he'd be all over it. Like, I'm here to talk about Stephen Amell and I'm here to root my boy on. He'd be right here. Any other movie, can't be bothered. He's like, F these guys. I don't even care. F them. I'm only here to talk Arrow and Snyder Cut.
If he's listening, he'll probably come on to respond to that. There you
I
go.
love you, buddy. I love you. Hey,
Oh,
no,
man.
you know what? I jumped his ass in. Okay. I text him the other day. And whenever he texts me back, I didn't realize it had been when I first saw, like, I was busy and I thought it had been 13 hours. Oh, no. He replied to a question I asked him 25 and a half hours later, literally a day and 1 hour, like an hour and a half later. Travis, he's got to get better with the text back, buddy. I love you because you're not going to tell me you ignore text from your mom and you ignore text from your girlfriend. I know you're on lockdown, so you're probably with your girlfriend a lot, but you know what I'm saying. Your brother,
really
like
want him
everybody,
to
your
hop
brother
on
doesn't
here, don't
text you and you text him back 25 and a half hours later and then continue your conversation. Stop it. I love you, buddy. God, I love you. That's just my little vent for the week.
And that's our Travis squirrel right there.
Right, that's our Travis.
That's our Travis squirrel.
Travis got his own squirrel.
All right. Well, let's get into some reviews of some stuff before
You
we
wanna take a
do
break?
that. Let's take a quick break. Yeah, it's a good point to take a break, folks. Ad Sport Network. These help keep the lights on. We're gonna take a real quick break, and we'll be right back. All right, and we're back. So, let's talk about some Superman and Lois. I know
Lois.
I'm co-host of DC
Mark.
Alliance podcast, and due to some circumstances beyond my control, my internet going out I was not able to be on the show and talk about Superman and Lois, but I want to talk about Superman and Lois. And because of that, I haven't been able to listen to the show yet because I couldn't listen to it till I watched it. But before I get into my thoughts about it, Clay, I know you were on that show. Let's hear what Sarah and Nathan had to think, and then we'll all just kind of gang it.
Go ahead, Sarah. Ladies first.
This was one of the shows I really wasn't excited about,
Mhm.
but I watched it yesterday. Oh my God, I despise the CW app. I hate it because it always crashes. I don't know how many times, but I powered through it and I loved this show. I don't know what I can say about it, but it's just the humanity, the human side in this. It just, wow. I mean, it was just, because, I mean, you know, Superman's story. I mean, you know, because like I said, it has that Smallville feel to it, but it was just, and I've never really been a fan of Lois Lane, and I cannot believe I'm about to say this, but I liked her Lois Lane.
Say it, girl. There you go.
Yeah.
Because she was
welcome to the
on
dark side.
Grimm, and her character is stuck in my brain as, I can't remember her character, but I could just remember for her from Grimm.
Mhm.
So when I knew that she was gonna be in this, I was just like, oh my God, this lady, because I wasn't a fan of her in Grimm anyways, but I really liked her take on Lois. I mean, it was more than just the, you know, the badass journalist and, you know, but it was her being a mom. And
human.
honestly, exactly. And honestly, if I wasn't a parent, I don't know if I would get it as much, but I don't know. I just really dug it for some reason. This series or that pilot just really, it spoke to me because I'm like, yeah, I get that. I see that. And, you know, and it's kind of like the Clark finally understanding what his parents went through, you know, how raising kids, how it's, you know, you want to be open and honest, but yet you want to hold back and, you know, protect them and this kind of thing. So it was just, I was really surprised how well I like this.
What'd you think, Nathan?
So this funny, you said something about Lois because I watched this with my wife and we turn it on. And like the first scene of Lois comes on and Jamie looks at me, she goes, "Oh God." I go, "What?" And she goes, "That's Lois?" I go, "Yeah." And she goes, "Why did they get somebody so fucking hideous?" Dude, I about fell off the goddamn couch. I said, "Geez." And she goes, "I'm sorry, but like she's a great." By the end of the episode, she liked the performance, but she goes, "That woman is hideous, and they could have done such a better job finding Lois Lane." I was fucking rolling. I was rolling, and like, but she really, by the end of it, she liked the performance, and like Sarah said, she felt really human, and like she ended up like, I don't know if it was the mom side of her spoke with her or whatever, but like what Sarah said, she was on grim because like my wife's like, "Look at her face, she's all gaunt and stuff, and she looks like she needs a sandwich." I don't know. She was on a fucking roll. I'm telling you, you guys would have loved it if you'd heard her. But it was pretty funny. But like the suit was good. They did a lot of good cape porn. Like I was like, all right, taking the cue
it was
from
very
Zack
cinematic.
Snyder. I saw that. Yes.
It was very cinematic.
There were CW tropes in there, which is fine. And I'm gonna rewatch it again, but I'm gonna wait till like there's 2 episodes out so I can, because I want to see what they do after the pilot. Because this set up the mechanics, it set all the stuff up. And man, like we saw the teenage angst kid and stuff, and I was like, but I got to remember this is the CW. That is their pocket. That is their bread and butter. They've got to have the teen angst thing. Like they need the like, will they, won't they? Are they good? Are they bad? Are they going to cry? Are they going to man up or woman up or what? They need that, and that's fine. I did. This is the first time I really, really enjoyed the heckled the Superman. Like he felt like Superman to me this time. Like it was. Like doing heroic things, I kind of felt for him when he was like, "Don't tell Jordan, I don't need anything else to kind of drive us further apart." Like, I don't know. I this is the first performance of his. I was really like, all right, like, okay, Superman, all right, I'm with you. So all in all, like there was a few tropes in it. There was like the kids being like me and my wife, we laughed immediately. Like things fall on them. They get them off, and like literally the next scene, the kid's like, "How did we survive? We got to figure out what's going on." And they're like immediately they turn into like the great detectives and stuff. And and I'm like, I was like, I get it. We've got to get there. Like I understand we got to just typical CW stuff where it was real quick. There were some minor nitpicks, but overall, I really enjoyed this. And me, of all people, I'm gonna watch not just one, but another episode of a CW show when it comes out next week or two. Kind of get some. I want to see where it goes, like I said, where they don't have to set everything up. I want to see what just a normal episode is with the budget. We've got everything in place. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm right there with y'all. The CW lost me after a few seasons of Flash. I watched most all of Arrow, but after about season 3 of Flash, I kind of started to fall off of that. They've really started to pull me back in with Stargirl, and now this show.
Yes,
I'm watching Batwoman as well. I'd like the movie, but I'm not gonna lie. If I wasn't covering on a show, I probably wouldn't watch it. Not that it's a bad people say it's not a movie. Not that it's a bad show or anything. It's just it's a CW show, and this one feels a little different. I love the suit. Absolutely.
What Sarah said, it's cinematic. It looks cinematic.
Yes, very Man of Steel vibes. I'm the same way with Lois. When I first saw her the first time, I was like, I don't like her. She wasn't hideous, but I didn't think she was, really that attractive.
I can get my wife in here if you want to hear her savage. She'll come in here. She'll just dress this bitch down. I can bring Jamie in here. She'll be savage her.
But by the time it got to the end of the episode, I didn't have a problem with it, man. I really enjoyed the way she portrayed the character, and I guess the look didn't really bother me so much. I love just the Superman's great. The suit, like I said, is amazing. It's very Man of Steel-esque, very, very amazing. I loved how when it got into this episode in the pilot, it gives you like a 2-minute roundup origin of this is who we are, this is how we got here, this is where we are now, let's get going.
Is that the first time there's been baby juice come out of the rocket ship? Because I thought that was weird when like mom and pa kid find him, like baby juice is coming out and he's sitting there. Is that the first time we've ever seen that?
It's the
embryonic
first time
fluid or whatever the hell it is.
Saying he could remember that.
Yeah,
as a baby. That's crazy. But you're talking about the teen angst too. I did notice at the end of the episode, it seemed like they may not drag that on and be like,
oh, come on,
every episode.
Don't be naive, Greg.
I'm just saying, it's what it seemed like at the end of the episode.
Wait till they introduce. Well, they already got
Nathan. Let him be optimistic. Be quiet. Let him be optimistic.
Yeah, I know. I hope they don't run with that. But
There will be a love triangle. Give it till season 2 at the most. There will be a love triangle.
Yeah.
Between the brothers and probably the same girl. Like, wow, it's all right. It's coming. It's a
Lana's
CW
daughter,
trope.
Sarah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sarah.
Okay, so let's start to get. Well, actually, Clay, give us your overall thoughts. I know you did.
We heard a whole episode on it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I really enjoyed it. The one thing that I told Chris, because he even said this on the episode, he texted me in the middle of the episode, but he didn't know because of the time zones whether I was caught up or anything else. But the really good thing about West Coast and Central is that they air at the same time, but of course, time zones, it's odd.
Right.
The only one that is not at the same time is Pacific. So we were caught up, and I told him I like the aesthetic. It has CW dialogue in spots. And, you know, the one thing that really disappointed me about the show, and it was only one thing, is the fact that Martha passed away.
Yeah.
Right? And that old makeup looked terrible. And when they olded her up.
Yeah, when they aged her up, it was bad.
Yeah.
But that was the only thing that did kind of upset me. And the reason why they did it, is, and Chris said this on the episode, is to get rid of all of Clark's crutches.
Sure.
So that way he couldn't depend on anybody else in raising his kids. And I completely understand that. I got very big Superman vibes from Tomasi and who was Gleason, the creator team that did Superman Rebirth. This was what the entire story was about with them, was Jonathan Kent and Superman teaming up, being heroes, but most importantly, being a family. And that's what they're going to really lean into. The whole thing about Jordan being the one with superpowers, completely predicted it. Like, he's the one that's kind of messed up. He's going to be the one with the superpowers.
Come on, you know the other one's getting powers eventually. Someone's going to knock powers into him.
I told my wife this. I said, what's going to happen is next season there's going to be an episode where they switch places, where Jonathan is going to be the one with the powers and Jordan is going to be the one without powers. And so they're going to learn more about each other, because right now they're completely opposite people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the high school jock versus the awkward kid, you know?
Yeah. And although they're opposite, they do have they have a great brotherly relationship.
Yes, they do. They do.
He's gonna be. Wait, I forgot the athletes. He's gonna be the new. He's gonna be the new Guardian. They're gonna suit him up where he's a hero too, because he's the athletic build and stuff. They're gonna treat him just like Jimmy Olsen from Supergirl. They're gonna Guardian him up with a weird suit and stuff. It'll be cool.
I will say there was one part at the very end where, like, the Lana's daughter, Sarah, I think her name was.
Yes.
You know, she was really playing, Jordan, and, that all turned into a whole big mess. And then at the very end of the episode, she was like, oh, well, I saw you taking pills, so I thought you were just as messed up as I was. Yeah. And I was like,
that's very CW.
Like, who says that to a person?
Nobody does.
No one.
You know who says that? You know who says that? A 43-year-old writer in a writer's room goes,
things are different.
This is what kids say. This is what kids say.
Things are
sorry. That's no offense. You know what I'm saying, though. That's somebody you would never dare try to write for a 16-year-old or write what's in the head of a. You know what I'm saying? That's somebody older in a boardroom going, "Oh, this is fucking gold. This is so good. This is exactly what kids think."
No idea what's going on.
Yeah,
it was bad. It was like I was like, it was bad for even the character. It's like, Jordan, you don't need this girl because she thinks you're messed up. Like this shouldn't be attractive to you at all.
Yeah, she thinks you guys are samesies.
Well, and then it just pops up. Oh yeah, by the way, I do have a boyfriend.
Yeah.
Well, lady, you were just like throwing all those vibes out there. What's the boy supposed to think? Jeez.
Yeah. I think.
But the one thing I was going to say this also, because somebody sent us a question about Jordan being diagnosed with anxiety and whether his medicine is going to affect his powers.
Don't Jessica Cruz him.
I don't think it'll go that far.
I hope not. I'm serious. I'm not saying they did, but I'm just saying don't. I don't want them to take don't Jessica Cruz him.
But like, what happens when he stops taking his pills? Does his powers go like?
Yes.
Is his medicine making his powers dampen? Like, is he not able
Suppressing his
to
powers a little
have
bit.
super strength?
I would say
Because
this. I would say this is it might maybe it's just the fact that this is going on in the background and he doesn't quite know what's going on, and maybe you know the medicine does tamp it down, and maybe once he does get off of it, it'll kind of help him once he realizes, okay, well I do have this going on. It'll kind of help.
See, I don't think so, because I don't think the medicine will really have anything to do with it, because with the way they said it in this episode, he manifested the powers in this episode. Like he didn't.
Yes.
It wasn't something he had and like just like had before, because he's gotten hurt before. Like he said, when he fell, he felt something come over him at that moment, and something changed at that moment. And so I what I'm thinking is it's like the mutant gene is dormant in him, and then something snapped.
That's the comparison I made in my head too, but I don't want to make that comparison. I did the same thing, Greg.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting how they play with it. You know, I don't want to downplay any of like the seriousness of having anxiety or anything else who has that diagnosed. I don't want to, you know, the one thing that I said was it would be very interesting to see how the writers play with the anxiety as an obstacle, you know?
Yeah.
Well, it gives me anxiety, the fact of Lois and Kal-El reproducing. I mean, because you got like now you have like human, you know what I'm saying?
Go on,
He
Mom.
made them,
Come
he
on.
made them both just laugh.
Well, in the comics,
It's like, I'll send you a link. I'll send you a
Shut
link.
up. I know how it works, but still.
in the comics, what
Like
ended up
interspecies
happening
kind of
is
thing.
they were in a pocket universe where Superman didn't have his powers, and so that
Okay.
way she, as
Nothing
awkward as it
happened,
is,
so-
Hey,
Superman was
Nothing
able to
got
not hurt her.
Okay, all right.
In the
That's what I was gonna say.
process.
We're
But
talking about
can't-
Superman
he can
sex.
be
Let's
gentle.
really talk about it. Like, so does he? All right. Does he even feel it if he doesn't go, or is he just like the Man of Steel? And he's like, "What? There's nothing happening." Like, does he
Well,
just
that's
cut
what
her
I'm
in
saying.
half
Because
or
you're
what?
like human alien, like hybrids is what their kids are basically.
That's
So,
okay.
I mean, it's
does no, I can't even say this. It's too dirty for the
Physiology
show.
is
We're moving on. I can't even say it on the show. That is way too dirty, and nobody wants to hear it. Moving on.
But I'm sorry. I mean, that was just something that just.
What I was
that
wondering,
you
but
know.
I do. Hey, because you know, Superman and Wonder Woman, they made earthquakes. They made like sonic booms and earthquakes, and volcanoes shattered when they was knocking boots. So you know what I'm saying? Like with Lois, he's like, with Lois,
there had
he's
to be like an
what is
extenuating
this?
circumstance that kind of
Right.
brought them down on the same level.
Right.
Like I said, if you want to see how Lois and Superman or Lois and Clark made a baby, Nathan will send you a link.
Sure.
But
Sorry, guys. I didn't
No,
mean to
you're
go
good.
down that road.
the one thing that I didn't like about this episode, or one thing that bothered me, was the scene where he falls and the pipes fall on him. Didn't like that. I didn't like the router placement being there.
Yeah, who the hell puts a router up like
My
there?
wife thought the exact same thing.
Fall.
Why?
And
Is
when
it
he
like
gets
a
up there and
test?
you look at it, he gets up there and you look at it, and he's like
Mark
barely
put it
hanging
up
on
there.
to unscrew this. I'm like, no kid's gonna do this. Nobody's gonna do that. Other than
Not
the
only
right
that,
mind, you know?
my wife brought up a good point. She said, "At this point, isn't Clark's dad dead?" I said, "Yes." And so she was like, "So you're saying Martha Kent ordered Wi-Fi, and the assholes of the internet company were like, oh, this is the only place we can put your router." So this 80-something-year-old woman,
This
like,
dangerous little barn.
Yeah, that was dumb.
my wife questioned it. She's like, there's no way Martha would have been like, oh, this is perfect, thank you so much.
You're right. And if we're questioning things, you're not going to be 15 before you're like, you remember the Forbidden Barn? Let's finally go in there to do.
Well,
Get
they don't
out
know
of here.
how long it was since they've been there. They made it. They didn't make it seem like. I think they said they were 8 last time they were there.
I was gonna say because literally the last time, they like you don't go in there. You don't go. What's the first thing you did as a kid? You wait until the coast is clear. You're like, well, let's go find
And
out
then
what the
you
fuck they
run
want us
in.
to stay away from. Yeah. So they've been in there playing and stuff. But he's like, oh no, it's dangerous. Dad told us no, but we're 15 now. Let's go. We're literally the day they went to Smallville, they turned into detectives. They went to go check the barn out. They had to figure out why pipes fell and how they didn't get hurt. Like shit was just weird. Okay, shit was weird.
Yeah.
And I didn't like Master Chief being the villain.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
wasn't a huge fan of that either.
So I understand that it's a play off of the suit, because we all heard at the very end it was Captain Luthor. It's supposed to be a play off of his power suit, but it either looked like Master Chief or the
Master Chief.
Slayer from Doom. Like, that's what it looked like. So I was just like, I don't know.
Kryptonite
It's
shiv.
odd.
I mean, it was uncanny how much it looked like Master Chief. Like I was waiting for him to call him Master Chief, colors and everything. Like I just couldn't believe it.
Waiting for
Obviously,
Microsoft to
it
call
looks
them, want their
cool,
money.
but it's I don't know. It's been done before, I suppose. It'd be like if a stormtrooper walked in there. You know, that's kind of how I felt. If you walked in with a stormtrooper outfit,
if a stormtrooper would have walked in, the episode would have went up 10 points alone in my books. I'd have said, "Fucking crossover!" Like we'd have been ready.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to think. What y'all think about the Lana Lang relationship here? Is she gonna play a huge role in the future in this show? Obviously, if they're
her husband is a douche.
Yeah. Well, yes and no.
Like like he had, what was his name? Kyle? That just sounds like a douche name. I'm sorry.
To all the Kyles out there, you just sound like just like a D hole.
Well, no, like
he was kind of he was a bit
the
much.
way he was talking about Martha.
But Lana was like, "Look how cute he is, though. There's
stuff.
nobody else in this town. Look how cute he is. I'm gonna marry him."
Yeah, and like even his family doesn't like him.
Yeah,
like,
his daughter was talking shit, and like rolling her eyes.
That's normal.
Let's go. Yeah, Daddy doesn't like you because you and Mommy are friends on Facebook. I'm like, oh my God, really?
I know. Like,
Mommy was looking at your Facebook all night.
I'm like, damn.
Why you snitching?
She just went out there and blew her whole spot up right in front of him. Is that what the kids say? Am I still hip and young when I'm saying that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what
man.
kids say. I had to ask my daughter.
No, that's not.
Trying to think. What else? There was something else I wanted to bring up about this.
Well, there was the flashback that everybody is going nuts over, the like with the old suits and all of that.
That was a cool call out.
It was a really cool callback. You know, as far as like lifting the car, you know, the green car, it was all that action number one.
Yeah, the cover.
It was really nice. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, they did a good job. And those like little things, like we were talking about with Power Rangers, reboot Power Rangers earlier, like put little things like that in it if you're going to completely reboot and, you know, make fans happy. Sure. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Let's talk about the kryptonite. Kryptonite always affects Superman differently in every little version, different on-screen version you see him on. Like some, it's an effect where he's affected for an amount of time no matter what. Some, it's once he's X amount of feet away from it, it's no effect at all. What'd y'all think about this one where he just pulled it out and he was good to go? To bother you? Nathan?
Yeah, I agree with Travis. No, I agree with what Travis. I listened to the episode and like what a I'm going to call it a waste in the first episode, the plot episode, to have it be just so willy-nilly where he just said, yeah, kryptonite, and just kind of brushed it. You know what I mean? Like that should have been either something you work for or like he had to pull it out and throw it on the ground to save his sons or to save Lois. Or I just feel like it. Maybe we should have kept that one in the sheath for a little longer. We'll keep that one in the utility belt for just a little bit longer and they could have done something else.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's going too high, too fast, but at the same time, I think it was put in there to set up the line that he has, where that was the last of it. And he's like, well, let's go. What he said, let's go somewhere and find more or make more. One of the two. I think it was to set that line up so that way you're saying, oh, okay, he's going to go make some kryptonite or find some kryptonite.
So they're going to bring Firestorm in and he's going to create it out of thin air? Or
no idea. No idea.
Bring Deathstorm in. That'd be even better when it's created out of that.
Yeah. I'm trying to think.
Sarah, what did you think about the whole kryptonite thing?
It was just kind of, like I said, I kind of agree with you guys. I thought it was a little too fast, too quick. I mean, it was just like he just kind of pulled it out like a splinter. And I'm like, you know, when you're used to if kryptonite even that much, because that wasn't a small piece.
No.
How quickly can you pull out a splinter?
I don't, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's like just a
falling for space, you know.
So I mean, I was like, I don't know about that. Like, you know, it just seems like to me that would take him a little bit longer to kind of regroup from that.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, but you know, it is CW. You know, like you said, maybe they're just setting up, and I don't know. I just thought that one was that was a little reach on that one, but
I am repeating myself a little bit, but it is something that has been done before. There is a moment in almost every reiteration of Superman where he overcomes the power of kryptonite. And nowadays in comics, most superheroes do not have weaknesses anymore. Like they don't.
Mhm.
And that's why you hardly see kryptonite in a Superman comic, is because people already know that's his weakness, and it kind of is a, crutch for like, oh, how do we defeat Superman? Kryptonite.
Just wait till Gay Pride Month. They're bringing back pink kryptonite. Hey.
Hey, I would like to see other colors of kryptonite being played.
let me see the red kryptonite. That was always real fun.
That is one of my favorite. That is one of my favorite trivia facts of all time. That pink kryptonite turned Superman gay, and that is a straight up comic fact. That is one of my favorite things of all time.
I will say this. You want to get into the CW tropes of teen angst? Give Jordan a piece of red kryptonite.
Yes, that would get really interesting real quick.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
what if they was treated like Supergirl and they give him the Red Lantern ring? It just comes flying in out of nowhere, and he just comes in and she's just Red Lantern and that shit. Because you remember when Kara Zor-El was the Red Lantern? She was Supergirl and the Red Lantern. That was fucking crazy powerful.
Well, I'm trying to think. Oh, one scene I want to talk about: the nuclear reactor scene.
The giant piece of ice.
That's the first that's like the first introduction of Superman, like new suit, like the suit he's going to be in, his first little bit of action. Yeah. Awesome. It sold me after that. As soon as he's going down in that reactor with that ice, with that big chunk of ice over his head, I was like, yep, I'm sold on the show. I'm going to watch this show.
He dried off so quickly.
I didn't notice that, but yeah, I guess
he spun in a circle really, really fast.
That's what I assumed. I assumed he like either he cooled everything down and just like got really close to the radiated spot to where it dried himself off, or he just flew up in the air, did a really quick circle and come down. Yeah, just like real quick.
Just done.
Yeah.
But no, I love that scene. You get to see all his powers at work. He saves the day, and they did a great job with the graphic, the special effects.
But he didn't really save the day. He did it as Superman, but when he came back as Clark, he got in trouble because he missed the therapy session with Jordan.
True.
So this is what's really interesting to me about this show, is because yes, he's Superman. He can save the day on any other level, but now it's interesting when he comes down to his family. It's like,
what's that say about 2021 and like the time we're living in? Even Superman's kids going to therapy. God damn, man! There's just
it's not that. It's the fact of being in two places at one time. And that's what I think is going to be really cool about this. It's going to be more about Clark and his family than it is
the family
about
dynamic.
Superman. So that's what I'm really interested in.
One thing that did bother me as well is at the very end of the episode. Well, not even the very end. In the middle of the episode, we have Jonathan and Jordan completely blow their lid when they find out that he is Superman. They're so angry.
Yes.
Why didn't you tell us? Why didn't you tell us? At the very end of the episode, they're like, "Oh, our dad's Superman. We need to do this," and like they're all happy about it. And I'm just like, you can't just flip like that. You can't flip like that.
Man, they blow hot and cold. It's just,
and that's why I was saying I don't know if they're going to continue with that like him being that mopey teenage stuff. But I mean, it's going to be his personality and it's the way he is. But I don't know if it's going to be a main topic or a main thing for him.
I understand that they may be more understanding, but they will still. I still think I was going to call him Superman. I still think Clark will hold secrets to his kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's not showing the fortress tomorrow.
Like he's not going to tell them about kryptonite. He's not going to tell them about the different colors of kryptonite. He's not going to tell them about all the other villains that they don't know of. Like he's not going to share everything.
Right.
And that's what's going to build the story of the season.
That's going to be the difference between you've got Superman and then you have Clark as Superman and Clark as the father.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because you have to separate those two.
And I'm not going to lie, when he was telling his kids about him being Superman, for me, it was just completely ass backwards the way he did it. Like, the first thing you lead off with is, "Hey, I'm Superman."
Yeah.
That's the last thing he told him,
I I told my wife that he felt so alien when talking to them about being Superman.
Mhm.
He referred to everything almost like in the third person and not saying me, 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 me. And
Yeah.
so it felt very
Me, me,
alien.
me.
And I mean, it was a
Like
good
he's two different
performance.
people.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did like the performance.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, he did kind of go about it the wrong way, you know?
Yeah. I would have said I'm Superman, shown I'm Superman, then give him the history lesson of how
Well,
I came to be here.
He
You know.
kind of did, and he like took off the glasses, gave them to Lois, and then picked up the truck. But like, I'm so glad that they didn't like be like, "Holy crap, you're Superman!" right after he took off the glasses.
That's what I was
Because that
gonna
would have
say.
just
Well,
been like, "Oh my god."
okay, like my mom and my aunt are identical twins. Okay, I've grown up my whole life, never, not one time, not never, like from the back of their heads, I can tell who my mother is. You're not gonna tell me that these 250, they're just so oblivious to Superman out there that they don't know, like, man, I got son of a bitch that really looks like my dad without his glasses. Like they've never seen him without glasses in the house before. He wakes up every morning. He just sleeps with those motherfuckers on all the time. He gets up and takes a shower. Like, come on, man.
That has always been my issue with Superman. Always my issue with Superman.
My mom is an identical twin, and I can tell her, but literally from the back of her head, from a mile away. I know my mom. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna tell me.
There's two different reasons for the glasses. There's one retelling of Superman where the glasses themselves have like a telekinetic thing basically broadcasting to everybody's brain.
No.
So basically like keeping people from figuring it out.
Yeah. That's
one.
What an asshole if he's doing that to his kids. Like you just stupefy their brain every day.
And then the second theory is that it's Superman himself that has the ability to do that with his glasses.
I think the CW's not going with any of that. I think they're just going with kids are dumb.
Yeah,
people are dumb is what the CW is going with.
Yeah. So what else, y'all? Anything else you wanted to point out about this? I know, like I said, I'm watching it.
I need another episode. I did really give true judgment. I think I need 3 episodes. Just
I agree.
You'll have a story track by then. You'll be able to see how the visuals are going to fall off or whatever. You know what I mean? I think it's
and
3 episodes.
I will say one last thing. In the making of Superman and Lois, they did say that they are going to play in the universe of the CW, but this is going to be kind of its standalone thing.
Good.
So it doesn't have to hold.
I don't need Supergirl showing up or
with, Batwoman or Flash or anything else. It's not going to be held back from those other shows.
I don't need Ryan Wilder stopping by just to go, hey, and then jumping out for no reason. Like, I mean, if they want to do like a full on, like, let's do a world's finest, like team up thing, sure, that's fine. But like, I don't need to just, 1 week. Okay, I'm not gonna say Diggle because Diggle belong. Like, I'll take more. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need Felicity showing up in an episode for 3 minutes to just be like, "Hi, I'm here. I'm Felicity. Remember me? Hey, I should have died 10 years ago in the universe, but here I am." So you know what I mean? Like, I agree. I do want crossover. Like, I want team ups, but I don't want it to feel forced or handcuffed. I would prefer it to stay in its own universe. And as we just said, like the visuals seem more on par with Stargirl. And I haven't seen any of the other CW shows, but I would kind of like to keep that quality and just kind of keep it over here. Because I'm sure, I guarantee Legends isn't looking like this season did, where like Bebo is going to come out with like his fur, having fur porn, like it's billowing in the wind, like, like the capes were. So you know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's keep it over here. Let them do their thing.
Yeah.
And to Sarah's point at the very beginning of this whole talk of Superman and Lois, they need to renew their contract to where the show goes to HBO Max immediately after instead of the CW. Because I hated watching all the shows on the CW app.
See, I don't have a problem with CW app. That's so crazy.
Well, it always like craps out at some point. Like I was watching, like it was like one of Ma Kent's scenes, and it just stopped. I'm like, seriously.
And then you have to restart the whole thing and then drag.
But no, fortunately, I didn't have to restart the whole thing. I would just close it out, and then when I brought it back on, it resumed. So because I had to like reinstall it.
Yeah,
I got rid of it.
All right. Well, anything else? Superman and Lois. All right, we're gonna keep covering it as it comes out. I think was that Tuesdays is when that showed that.
I think so.
I think it is Tuesdays, but it's gonna be at a later time because next week the Flash comes in. It's gonna be Flash and then Superman and Lois.
Gotcha. All right, cool deal. Well, we'll be watching. Let's move on. Let's let's talk WandaVision. Penultimate episode. Sarah, you gave a big Talk to me about it.
Well, I've enjoyed every episode up until here. I know Nathan didn't like the first, couple, which
3
to each his own. But this one, I was like, it gave you the backstory. It filled in a lot of holes. Because really it was kind of like
Don't do it, Nathan.
Wanda's education, or I don't want to say education, but her figuring out, especially with Agatha, she's like, how do you do this? How do you do this? Of course, I was like Googling who Lord, can you talk? Who Agatha was after the last episode. I'm like, who was this? Because I don't know every single little detail. So that was really cool that they had kind of her backstory where, she got to, in a nutshell. But woo, blown away. That's all I have to say.
Oh, yeah.
But I did kind of feel for Wanda. I mean, because she was finally going through everything and remembering how, because she'd been kind of, throughout, it's kind of like, how did you do this? And she's like, I don't know. But yeah, I really like this episode.
Yeah. Clay, what do you think, man?
Well, I'm going to let Nathan go first because I probably have some very controversial thoughts about
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
For a penultimate episode, I was kind of left like, man, I don't, maybe that's me. Like, I really enjoyed getting eggs, like in the very beginning where we see, look like the witch trials and like she's literally on trial by her covenant and she's so powerful, like, cause she knows dark magic. She literally sucks the life out of all them zombies up. I like that. I really did not care for Wanda's walk down memory lane thing where like she's watching like with their parents and the little Pietro, and then we jump into another scene that we saw. But what I did find interesting was the experimentation scene where first of all, is this what happened with everybody that went in there? The stone just dislodged itself and flew at everybody's face and did that? Or is it because Wanda's a Nexus being, it did that and came at her? Like, you know what I mean? Because I think they confirmed that too, but I was so confused by the experiment. And I liked we got it, but I didn't like how they did it. Like literally it's just in there and she walks in and goes. And then when they're trying to watch it, it's just like a little clip on, like there's a glitch on the camera. And she's saying, what was that nonsense? Was that in her head? Did that really happen? I don't know. I did like how the Hayward or the whatever, like he manipulated that footage to show Rambo to be like, look, 9 days ago she broke in and stuff, where she didn't really break in, but she did go all like, whatever, I do what I want, like, I don't need your help, I'll open this door. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like I did like seeing the vision, of as morbid as it is, all like cut apart, laying there on the table and stuff. But for the most part, this episode just kind of it just dragged for me. And you got Agnes in the side, or like walking her through it, and she kept her like, okay, so we're using all this magic, and she says, yeah, look, I got rune stones in this room, and you can't do anything. But then she literally leads her out of the rune stone circle through a door. So shouldn't Wanda be able to power up then? Because she's not in the middle of the protection stones? What the fuck? And then she just walks through with her. She's talking with her like she's not captured and holding her kids. Or like, I don't know. Like I said, and then where's Vision the whole time? We saw him fly away. Like he's this, Vision that she created, just up there floating in circles, just all going, I don't know what to do. I don't know what, The most interesting part about this episode was the stinger. And I think I see where they're going with that. Like literally, that was the best part of the episode for me. And I don't know, I was left wanting it. It kind of was like, oh man, really? Like I'm really kind of hoping we get some. I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting. I don't know. Like I don't know. I didn't like the walk through literally all her past memories. I liked the beginning, the witch stuff. The getting her powers, I think, was wonky as hell and could have been done better. But I did like the Scarlet Witch that came down to her, but it reminded me of the Phoenix Force. And I don't like that if they're using the Phoenix Force for Wanda. Like, what are you doing? That kind of seemed fucking silly to me. Literally, like the bright light and you see the outline and shit. I can picture the splash page in the comic, and like I can remember the animated series where it's looking like this. And I don't like that. And you know what I mean? Like I said, the best part of this episode was the very end of it. And then I'm like, well, how are we doing this? And that was wonky as shit too, but I'm hoping they'll explain it. I don't know. I don't want to be the turd in the punch bowl, but it just,
You
I
are.
was like, really? Come on, I know, sir. I know.
Well,
you are.
I'm kind of right in the middle of the two of y'all, because where I enjoyed the episode, it did have some questions for me, and maybe those questions are still yet to be answered, is what I'm wondering in the future. Like you mentioned that he made up the video of her stealing the body, so everybody else is under the impression that Vision's body is stolen, but she didn't.
But it should be there.
She didn't steal
Well,
the body.
Hayward's trying
so
to
they
make her
should-
look more like the villain that she is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so they still have Vision's body then, technically, right? Like, okay.
Was that Vision's body kind of repaired-ish? Like they put him back together in 10 days? Or did they literally built another vibranium copy?
Greg, did you watch the end credit scene?
I did not watch the end credit scene because I always forget to watch the end credit scene.
Look it up right now. Look it up
Greg,
right
you need
now.
to watch it on.
Pull
You
it
need
up
to watch it on
now.
the show right now.
It's
Okay.
only
You need to watch
it's
it
only
right now.
4
I
seconds.
you were saying something, and I was like, "Whoa, wait!"
I know exactly.
Yeah.
I was like, hold on, somebody didn't do.
Okay.
You have to watch it right now.
Yeah.
It was the most interesting part of the episode, in my opinion.
Yes.
Clay, I want to hear your controversial things about
Yeah.
Greg
So
looking this up. We'll got some time to
I
go.
will say everything except for that point.
Okay.
And like I said, controversial. I did
Sure,
like
sure.
moments of the show, but it was bullshit.
Thank you.
And the reason being is I understand that the MCU has created different origins for these characters.
Uh-huh.
I understand that. But making it like shoehorning this idea of the Scarlet Witch being some sort of like descendant-esque type power of witches, and that
Weird.
Wanda had this dormant in her the entire time, and somehow her family is connected to a family or even a coven of witches. Like, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Oh yeah, I forgot. She was 10 years old. She stopped the bomb from blowing up and just didn't know it. Yeah.
That is what is being said. She said that, it was just a dud, whatever. To your point of the Infinity Stone, her seeing a vision of who she's going to become.
Yeah. What the fuck?
I felt like that was kind of dumb. If you actually pause it at that point, it is
You
actually
see the outline.
you actually see it is Elizabeth Olsen that is there.
I just saw
okay.
So it's not.
I
It's
saw
not just
the Halloween costume.
Yeah.
thing.
It's not
the
just.
headdress.
It's not a silhouette. If you pause it at the right moment, you can actually see that it is her.
Oh, okay.
Wow, okay.
So there is that, and then you move on to this whole thing with Agatha and her, like, oh well, I think I have an idea of who you might be, but like then all of a sudden she knows.
There.
But all of a sudden she knows about the Infinity Stone when she didn't know about the Infinity Stone because she thought Wanda was just a witch, or maybe she is. Like, there's just so many things that they're putting in there that they're contradicting each other, especially the fact that we were just talking about Hayward wanting Vision back. So we see, Greg, are you finished with this end credit scene?
I'm watching it right now. You can go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
we'll stall. We'll stall
Yeah,
for a second.
you see this moment where Wanda is going into Sword, and you're like, okay, this isn't exactly the way Hayward had pictured it when he showed the footage to everybody at the facility outside of Westview. We see that there was an actual conversation, right? And we see that Wanda is clearly grieving. She is depressed. She is grieving. She, like she said, just wants to bury him. And there's this like weird thing that's like, oh yeah, so because you're a superhero, he must be a weapon to you. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense.
No, Hayward. What struck me is Hayward said that you have the power to reanimate him, and she said, "Excuse me, how the fuck do you know Wanda's got the power to reanimate him?"
It's convoluted. It's convoluted. There's a lot of things being thrown in there that doesn't make any sense for the timeline that it's being played in. So there's that. And then we get the moment.
Do you see it?
I saw it.
All right,
Get the
go ahead.
moment at the end.
Are you there now,
So-
Greg?
Right.
Are you there now?
Yeah.
Okay, so my thing is, he wants Vision so much so that he has all these secret files
Mhm.
on Vision, especially the fact that he is tracking Vision inside the hex. Why would he be tracking Vision if he has Vision?
This is true. What does he need that for? He literally, the body's still there. She never took it with her. Vision is still in the sword facility. And then he was literally copying and using and building this one. So technically there's like three versions of Vision.
If it turns out to be, I need the soul of Vision to complete my life's work. No, that's
well, it made it
bullshit.
seem like that's how she created him, because when with the Infinity Stone, you had the blue and then you had the yellow, so she absorbed all that, which is almost like the Mind Stone. So then when she created him, when she had her big blowout or whatever, it just everything
when
with
she
him, because if you
birthed
notice his
Vision in the
stone
middle of her
never
living room.
Did she create the Mind Stone again? Because you know what Agatha
exactly
says is that you can literally create a being of creation. So technically, he came out of her. What was the last thing to form whenever the Vision thing came up there? Boom, Mind Stone right there. And when everything got pulled back, so literally, when the hex goes away, like the spell stops. Is that still there? Does she literally reform one of the Infinity Stones? Because she can make things she can forge her own reality.
I don't think she recreated an Infinity Stone, though. I think it's literally just there for the aesthetic, because that's who she always saw Vision as.
Yeah.
Well, what was with the blue and the yellow? Because when she
absorbed, and that was the most confusing thing, because that stone isn't even the Mind Stone that she got her powers from. There's things that are being thrown at you where you're just like, oh, this is so amazing. This is Disney Plus. This is the greatest ending ever. And it's just like,
she did get her. She
got it from the Space Stone. No, it was from the Space Stone from the Tesseract. It wasn't from the Mind Stone.
No, she got it from the
Stone
Scepter.
came in from
from
Age of Ultron.
It's still the Scepter, though. It was still inside the Scepter.
Yeah, it was inside the Scepter.
It was inside of the Scepter. That's why they recovered Loki's. They recovered Loki's Scepter, and at the end credit of Winter Soldier, it says the Age of Miracles. The Scepter sitting right there, and you got Wanda and Quicksilver and their things right there, because that was our preview going into Age of Ultron. They did get their powers from them. She did get her, and which is why she could blow it up in Infinity War and Endgame and stuff. Because Vision said it's the same energy, blah blah yada yada yada.
Well, one thing I can say to defend one thing you were talking about, Clay, you were asking why he was tracking Vision in the hex. Maybe if he has Vision's body and he doesn't want people to know, that's the game he has to play to get people to believe that he doesn't have that body.
Apparently, Monica's the only one that didn't know. Everybody else on the Shield base is on board. Or on the Sword base.
Yeah, like everybody else knows, but also I can't even remember her name. Freaking Two Broke Girls. Darcy. She was looking into it. And at one point said, "Oh, Hayward, you bastard." So she must clearly know. Or she
got sucked in there.
But she got sucked in, but then Vision opened up her mind to remember everything.
She should have been able to say it. Yeah.
Why doesn't she know that, like, hey, you're not the real Vision?
Yeah. These are all very, very good points.
And I will say this.
It's a nice little mystery. Ooh.
Kathy Hahn as this villain, great performance. Performance. Every single time she's on screen, I have to turn on my fan. But,
I get it. I get it.
But
give me a case of the vapors.
I will say one little nod that I really did enjoy is at the end of like your old school sitcoms, when they ended, like officially ended, was the one thing they always did. They acknowledged the audience that was watching the show. So you all, like, the very famous one is the Fresh Prince, where they all like introduce each other. They all walk around. They're high-fiving the audience and everything else. It's a big goodbye, right? And here, when you see the flashback of how Wanda created Westview, this new version of Westview, it finally opens up her eyes and the sitcom is over. She sees the lights, she sees the set, and then she looks out and there's zero audience.
Yeah.
It was a really cool nod to tell you, like, hey, all that sitcom stuff, we're done with it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The very last episode is going to be real, you know.
Balls to the wall. Oh yeah.
I just don't understand like how she's had all this just dormant, buried power and so. And like, yeah, we saw her messing Thanos up and stuff, but like, she was having a hard time with the children of Thanos. Like, she was holding her own, trying to protect Vision, but she was getting the shit kicked out of her. And if she's literally just so powerful, and I know it's a big thing in the comics, like that is a part of her character, is that when she snaps, like it releases. And I'm fine with her having like reserves and hidden stuff, but they, like I said, they're making it sound like, which if they're retconning to make her a mutant, like it's fine, but they're trying to, like she said, the bomb was dud, but actually she already put it out there, and like you put a simple spell on this, so that's what saved you and your brother, and you didn't even know it. Like, and I get it, they're gonna put the X gene on there, and I like how she's, your powers were, you beefed your magic up with Infinity Stone. Okay, fine, but that doesn't explain this and this. And then, like I said, when they showed it happen, it was literally, I got Phoenix vibes, like the Phoenix Force coming into her. And then, you know what I mean? And then it's like, when they show her when she just fucking loses it and goes, like, it's all coming out of her chest, like she's not even doing, I don't know, it was just weird. I didn't like
when
it.
She was having like an exorcist
clunky
moment.
Yeah, I just thought it was super clunky and super fucking weird, and I think it could have been done better.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that bothers me, and I was going to think about this kind of stuff. The entire episode, Agatha's trying to get her to tell her how she created this. How'd you do it? How'd you do it? And they finally get to that point. You see her do it, but she didn't explain anything.
No.
You're telling me that she learned how to do it by just, I saw her do it. That's how she did it. She just got mad and exploded from her. So that's what I've got to do. Like, there's no explanation of it, but she seems like she's won now. She's figured out how it happened, but she still doesn't know how it happened.
The way I explain her, like, over exuberant power, Nathan, I think you would probably the only one that gets this reference. It is a dormant Gohan. That's what it is.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Yes.
There's a moment
absolutely.
in the anime of Dragon Ball Z. We know that this character Gohan is super strong. And there's moments throughout the show where it shows that he is super strong, but he doesn't like to be that person. And then finally he is broken to the brink, and he finally becomes that character.
When the switch flips, it flips.
Exactly.
And so, okay, that's a great point.
So this is basically what has happened to Wanda. She gets to the point where she goes to that empty lot. You see the pamphlet where it says, for us to grow old together, or whatever it said.
That was the deed. This is like the deed to that house or whatnot.
It was a very powerful performance. She killed it in that moment.
Because that proves the depth of her emotion. That's what unlocked it.
And
it's just
so she broke down, and at that point, in this moment, that is her end game. She creates Westview, and then what is the only way she can cope with this life? It's Vision. So she creates Vision. And whether it be like conscious or not, now she has the life she wants to live.
Yeah. Well, I like I don't know if it's a shout out. I thought it was kind of like an Easter egg thing, but what's she call him? Pietro, like fake Pietro or whatever.
Yeah.
And if you read the Game of Thrones books, Aegon, their young Griff, they call him Fagon because he's claiming he's Aegon, and then but there's a fake one. I don't know. I just thought that was a little cool, like where they combine little things. I don't know if it was a shout out to that or if that's just what the kids are doing now, and I just don't know about it or what.
But I just thought that was very interesting. That part was very interesting because Agatha says, he is fake Pietro because necromancy couldn't really be played with because your brother is in a different continent with a whole bunch of holes in
Marvel zombies.
So
Marvel zombies.
Is Pietro the Fox Universe Pietro, or is he just some rando that Agatha gave the illusion of super speed with?
Random rando, I think.
That sounds like it makes more sense to me. And the fact that it was just happened to be the guy who played the same character in a different was the Easter egg for the fans. Yeah. That makes the most sense to me.
Dude, how pissed off are people going to be in this last episode when, Wanda asks, who are you? Are you like why did you resemble my brother so much? Like why? And he's going to say, I don't know. I'm just this dude from New Jersey. Like, just like saying that he's some random person, people are gonna flip their lid.
Okay, so I like how they did I will say I do like how they did the misdirect, because everybody was like, "Did you see that moth thing? Mephisto, he showed up in the comics for the first time as the moth thing." And like she grabs
cicada.
him and the shit that grabs the cicada, she grabs him and does all the stuff to him and then flicks him over and the rabbit eats him. And I bet Brent Clark, from fans, like I bet he was just loving it because he really didn't want that bug to be Mephisto, and like if it was, he got eaten. So
but
I just thought that was hilarious.
El Scratchy is still verbiage for the devil. So the rabbit could still be Mephisto. Just saying.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, did you maybe it's just me, but you know what I noticed for the first time on the like waiting to hit play screen? You know how it's got the TVs around Wanda and Vision, and like each TV's got a different decade or era around them. If you look at Wanda, the one on her chest that's the modern day, she has a new suit that we've never seen before. It's got the first emblem, and it looks like more of a Scarlet Witch suit. It doesn't look like just the corset top with the jacket. It looks like material suit, like Vision suit.
I'm looking at it right now. I
just noticed that today for the first time. I don't know if that just came up today, if it's been on the past episodes or what, but I said, oh, Wanda's getting a new costume at the end of this to go into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Yeah. She's getting a for real costume.
That costume that they teased in the whole flashback, the Phoenix Force thing, that is her costume possibly. Because I think that was a vision of the future.
Yeah. Well, they said Nexus too, and in the comics, she's a Nexus being. There's a Scarlet Witch in every Earth, in every reality. Like if there's, the 616, let's just say there's 616 universes. There might only be 500 with a Captain America, Tony Stark, or with Tony Stark as Iron, just Tony Stark, or with Steve Rogers. But in all 616, you will find a Wanda Scarlet Witch, no matter what. In any variant, like there might be one planet without a Bruce Banner or one reality or something like that. But and I think that's going to play into it because you got Loki who's dealing with there's already another Nexus being that they've cast. Kang the Conqueror is a Nexus being. So they've already brought it up here. You got Wanda as a Nexus being. Kang's already been cast. We know Loki's dealing with the time variant authority, and jumping through reality is going to be dealing with other Lokis. So like, you know what I mean? Is Loki also one of these next, you know what I'm saying? Like it's all making sense. Like all this shit's going to weave together. So like her being the Nexus being, there being a constant. Strange happened to bring her in for the Multiverse of Madness because there is a Wanda. I'm thinking it's going to be because there's a Wanda in every reality that she'll be able to go and help. Because even if, you know what I'm saying? Like it's all weaving together. Kang being one of the Nexus beings where he could be in every reality and going back and forth through time. The Quantum Mania, when we get to Ant-Man and shit, it's all revert, going through like time and fucking realities is the way it seems to me. Is like this big little this one of the fingers of the tree branch that the MCU is going off in. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I did something bad for this episode.
You did.
I got on a Reddit stream and found this guy who apparently was putting some leaks out, and I just to see how accurate this guy was, I read all the stuff about there. He's pretty accurate. It's pretty accurate. There's only one or two things that was on that list in that Reddit stream that wasn't in this show, and I was like, wow, okay. I don't know if I want to go look at that Reddit stream for the final episode or not, because I'm like you, Nathan. I can know and still really enjoy seeing it.
Sure.
In fact, for me, a lot of times knowing makes it more fun because I'm like, okay, I can't wait to see this. I want to see when this happens, or I can see it getting set up. I'm like, oh, they're about to set up for this because I know it's happening. It doesn't bother me as much. Now, there are certain things in movies and television shows that you have to be a surprise. But for the most part, man, I don't mind things being spoiled that much. So I'm debating on whether I want to go back to this Reddit page.
No, see,
spoilers don't deter me.
I'll still watch it. Yeah.
For me, CW stuff, if it gets spoiled for me, it gets spoiled for me. I don't care. For things that I care a little bit more about, because with, let's say, the MCU, there is a strict like story that they have going from freaking Iron Man into what it's become now. This is just like one of the MCU movies, and I wouldn't want to be spoiled with that. Heck, I wouldn't want to be spoiled with any of the prior episodes with everything that's been going on.
Yeah.
So if there is already leaks out there, I think I saw like one video like immediately after we were talking about the fact that like there may have been already a promo for episode 8, which ended up being fake or whatever. Like I saw like one small clip of something. I scrolled up like super fast.
I know
like,
exactly what you're talking. I know exactly what I saw. Apparently there was a fake clip because I saw the same thing and I went, well, God damn, that's giving away the farm and the little tease. I knew what you were talking about, but I still think that I'm calling it now. Strange is coming in the next episode. It is Benedict Cumberbatch who is her. And I mean, I love Elizabeth Olsen, like she's near and dear to me, but the Benedict Cumberbatch is nowhere near Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker level coming in there. Like, and I get it. There's drumming up the stuff, but it is going to be cool to see Strange come in because there's no way. We literally just spent an entire episode talking about magic back to the days of the Salem witch trials and fucking covenants, and Wanda's been one, and there's magic everywhere. Like Strange is coming in. There's rune stones and shit. He's gonna come in and be like, "What the fuck, Wanda? There's this big hexagon thing over here of just pulsating magic, and I've been diddling my doodle over here for 2 weeks
it's
and
gonna
not
be
doing
Gandalf.
that. About this time I come over here.
It's gonna be Gandalf.
Yeah,
I will fucking love that.
I take it.
I mean, he played Magneto. It still counts.
Yeah.
I want to know what Strange has been doing for the 2 weeks that we've been in there, because it's been 9 days that the hex was up. Like, what's he just I know you can't leave the Sanctum Sanctorum, but even let's just say he's in a different reality. Let's just say Doctor Strange jumped on over to a different reality. Wong's not going to send one of the people that came through Endgame, like all those other mystical guys that came through the portal that was holding shields. Nobody can go check this shit out. There's a big magical fucking disturbance over here. Like literally, reality's getting rewritten. Fuck that. We ain't even.
That's what I want to learn.
See that.
That's what I want to learn with these other movies that are going to be coming out. Like, is this going to be a wide known thing? Is there going to be news?
Strange will know. He knew when Loki showed up on the planet. Fucking instantly, he knew Loki was there and dropped him through a fucking portal where he was falling for 30 minutes. Like that's what I mean. He better be off world. He better be taking the hell of a magical dump. Something. What kept him away for 2 weeks? What's he been doing? He's got he knows, unless he's literally not in our reality. And even at that, Wong knows. And Wong's just sitting there going, hope this doesn't get any worse before Strange gets back.
Hey, he's dealing with 3 different Spider-Men, okay?
Yeah.
Right.
Those are attitudes. So do we get mutants next episode?
From this
last episode, no. Are we giving up on that? This is not, this show's not going to introduce mutants into the MCU.
I think there's still a chance. I told Travis this.
Retroactively.
There is still a chance that they can say, hey, Magneto is her father.
Yeah.
And still keep everything that they just did in this episode.
Adopted parents. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess I more or less mean like by the end of this episode, by the end of this show.
Oh, no. The X-Men are not going to be teased until I think like the end of Phase 4.
Well, I don't mean that. I mean, like, are we going to see something where like, okay, we'll be seeing she's changed Rambo. Like Rambo has her DNA has changed. So they've already laid an Easter egg with that, with something like a mutant, I would think, or they've mutated her DNA. I think they're going to have something where like, okay, the people that were in Westview or something happens where now certain people, I guess it's kind of like, goes back to, what's the name?
4400?
What's
that show?
No, what's the name of the Marvel show that only came out for one season? And
Inhumans.
Inhumans.
Mm-hmm. See,
I don't think that.
I don't think that technically Rambo would be a mutant. Same thing with Peter. Peter is not.
She's a human mutate. She's a human mutate.
Mutate. That's the phrase that Marvel comics use. Yeah.
Well, and
mutant is something that is coming from birth.
Well, you got to remember. Okay, let's just say, whenever the hex goes down, like whatever happens, like it, boom, and it explodes out. We know that they said it's made from background cosmic radiation, whatever, from the stone. It kind of resembles that same thing. We know the people of Earth have several, like there's been 3 snaps throughout the universe that people have felt recently. You had Thanos, Hulk, Tony. That's 3 of them right there. And then if this thing pops and goes, who's to say that the 3 just regular snaps didn't already give some people rewritten DNA, and then this one, boom, goes out and start activating X genes. I mean, it could be something as simple as that. Like whenever it comes down, instead of the dome just disappearing, like what if there's an explosion out? Like we saw her expanded. What if there's an explosion of energy that just boom and bursts out and it shock waves around the world? You know what I'm saying? Throughout the whatever, and that could do it. It's as simple as that because they especially with Monica going through 3 times and getting powers. Like she got snapped out of existence the first one, but you know what I mean? Like she went through 3 times. Basically they gave you the hint that, if you get messed up with this stuff 3 times, there's a good possibility you could start seeing weird colors and do superhero landings.
Yeah. Well, I think that they could do that. That's a great idea. And then you could leave it, like Clay was saying, where you don't even talk about that till the end of the next phase. And then maybe there's little
circle back around,
little hits, something here and there. You start to see mutants, and then when you discover, this is what caused it, and you get a flashback.
Well, great, yeah. Well, this will be the new Tony Stark, and 12 years from now, we'll be connected back to WandaVision and that fucking Westview Dome. God damn it, we'll be connecting everything to Wanda, and just like Tony Stark. You know how everybody's like, watch the next movie is gonna be Tony Stark's gonna somehow, even from the grave, he's gonna cause the next villain. Well, eventually, in 10 years from now, we'll say, God damn it, Wanda, you're silly television. We're still creating villains and mutants.
Yeah.
I said that just for Brent and Travis Snell, because I'm sure they got a kick out of that.
I mean, it's possible. You never know. Well, we got the finale coming up next week. Anything else you want to say about the penultimate?
Oh, Wanda's putting that makeshift version of Vision that doesn't have all the memories. She's gonna put that inside Vision the White, and they'll have to learn to love each other again, because it'll be. Oh yeah, I can't see her blowing up that body. They're not going to build another vibranium Vision body and not have Vision around.
Everything created in that hex is going to be gone by the end of this show. That version of Vision, and
she can create reality.
Both her kids.
Agnes told her she can literally rewrite reality, so she can still create him.
She could, but I'm willing to bet by the end of the show, when that hex is gone, when that is gone, everybody that was created inside that is going to be gone as well.
Except for the kids.
No, I think the kids are gone. Kids are gone.
No, see, I don't think the kids are gone. I think the kids are
kid killer.
I think the kids are moving on to the Young Avengers with Ms. Marvel. And I think there was a moment in this episode where we see a flashback with Wanda and Vision, in the Avengers facility
Upstate.
Or whatever. Yeah.
Upstate New York.
And they were talking about how, like, grieving and all of this. And then it moved to, like I said, with Sword. And there's a moment where Wanda is, right next to the disembodied Vision. And she is like using her power. And she's like, I can't feel you. I can't feel you. I almost guarantee you they're going to use that as a small connection to this soulless Vision to connect with Wanda. And then she's going to use her power, just like Nathan said, to
put that version in there.
The Vision that she created, which is, I truly think, the soul of Vision, and put him back.
Okay. That's plausible.
She's putting that version, exactly. She's putting that soul, exactly like he said. Because when he tried to go out of the dome, we saw it get ripped apart. I think Wanda, like I said, she's going to take the version of that she created with the live through this. So Vision's going to have the memories of going through sitcom life with her and having, even though it was only one crazy week, like he's going to have all these memories and feelings of her being there. They're going to have to kind of start over, and he's going to have to learn to get used to his body again, and all that teenage puberty stuff and all that cool.
Yeah, he seemed pretty used to it. He could change from purple to, not purple really quickly.
Well, there is a comic run that after disassembled or whatever, when she killed him or whatever, he comes back as a Vision, like a white version of Vision, and he doesn't have all his memories and stuff. So like there's already comic precedence for it, and like they have to learn to love each other again and all that weird stuff. So it's possible. I know. It's possible.
All right. All right. Well, anything else? WandaVision? Yeah. All right. Well, before we get to the, I guess, the main event, let's take our last ad break, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about King of the Monsters, and we'll get out of here. Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, folks. We'll be right back.
Hey, Greg, real quick. I'm actually going to bounce. I need to go take care of my mom's dog. So
okay, Cool, dude, man. Thanks for coming on, bud.
Thank you guys for
Yeah.
letting me join. And I'll see you guys later.
All right.
Love the cup.
Thank you for showing it off.
Oh, yeah.
All right. See you.
Bye,
Bye.
man. All right, and we're back. So here we go. Now it's just me and Sarah.
Yes.
Wandered off. Clay had to go. It's okay. Me and Sarah can swing it for right now. I think Nathan will be back in a second. We'll
I can't wait to talk about my squishy face. That's what I call Godzilla now. I call him squishy face.
Yeah.
I just smushed y'all.
You sent something in a text earlier and it said squishy face.
Yeah, I was like watching the boss battle with squishy face.
I didn't know if you were trying to do like a speech to text and like make it do an emoji. I was like, did that work the way she wanted it to? I wasn't sure.
No,
so
I call him, it's like either smushy because he has like this little, just he's always looks like he's mad.
Yeah.
It's like always the
Well, Sarah, you're our monsters expert on the show. Was this one your favorite of the reboot or the new universe so far?
Oh yes, I like this one.
Okay.
Yes, I liked it a lot. I mean, I just like the fact of, the 2014 it wasn't bad. I mean, it's had a lot of good stuff in it, but this one just really solidified the fact of Godzilla is he's the king. He's the king, especially when you get to that one scene. I looked at Brian. I'm like, now how in the hell is Kong gonna come up against that? Because no, he was like melting shit. So
I got something to rebuttal that with.
But I like this one. It was, I don't know, it's just the action with all the different type monsters and everything. I thought it was really cool. The mom / doctor, I had kind of like issues with her because when you first meet her, she's like all like, I don't know, like hippie-ish and all this kind of shit. Next thing you know, I'm like, when did she turn into like this badass? Like where she's gonna like pull guns and just like drive a Hummer through everything. I don't know. It was just kind of crazy.
She drove me insane the entire movie. Like,
yes,
I never understood her reasoning, why she did anything. Like it didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah,
No. Some of the story some of the plot lines I had a little bit of problem. I guess it was like the characters and the way they kind of dealt and did their things, but the monsters were pretty point on.
Yeah,
fucking awesome.
On point.
Yeah, they were pretty point on. Spot on.
What did you think overall, Nathan?
I know this movie gets like a lot of shit or whatever, but like I really enjoyed it. Like the 2014 Godzilla got, there's too much human, this, that. And while the human in this one, like I said, a couple of them, you go, but like the human, for the most part, the human side was pretty good in this. And I felt it was balancing up with the action. And come on, Godzilla is just, he is going to town. And like you get three famous, other Godzilla characters with him. It's just, it's really cool. And I love Mothra in there. Like every king needs his queen. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, hell yeah, Godzilla is fucking, yes, get in there. I'm like, I don't know, it's just, I thought it was really good. Some great battles in there. Like I loved, I'm a fan of whenever there's environmental damage, you know what I'm saying? Because that's how it would be. Like I like when I forgot which one flaps his wings over that township, you just see buildings and shit just crushing because of the wind pressure. Like I love that shit. I like the collateral damage. I like, because that's what it would really be like. And man, when you see like Godzilla gets messed up in this thing, and I know I saw baby Kong go, but it's just like, man, how's Kong gonna deal with this? Like Godzilla could literally just fry your face off.
Do you know how Kong's going to deal with it?
How's
because
that?
Godzilla won't have somebody there to save his ass like he has in the last two movies. The last two movies, he's gotten his ass kicked and somebody saved his ass. Without them doing that, he would have been.
He's always been fighting outnumbered too, though. Kong has always just been on this little one-on-ones. Godzilla's always taken 2-on-1.
Kong had quite a few of those. What John C. Reilly call them? Skull walkers or whatever they called. He had quite a few of those he was fighting. One time. So. We'll see. Like I said, I'm Team Kong. It wouldn't matter anyway because they're going to come together and team up anyway. So,
and I would argue that the alien, the three-headed alien, might be stronger. But yeah, either way, like, and that's what I want to see is what is. And I know that people have said, and I haven't gone back to scour, and I haven't really looked it up, but because I know Chris said that he saw it, and my theory is Mecha Godzilla. But like, what is going to be strong enough to make?
Did you see the end credit? Did you see the end credit?
Oh yeah.
Of the
Greg, did you see the end credit?
Did you see the end credit?
And I thought about it when I got down. I was like, I bet there's an end credit. I might want to watch it.
There's an end credit.
No, I need to get the show started. Okay, I'll watch it. I'm sure it's good. I guess it's just the thing now with everything. We'll stay for the credits. So
universes where they're connecting stuff. You know, yeah.
You always have to wait. You have to wait to the end of the credits just to make absolutely sure. I mean, it's nothing crazy, but it just.
Well, they showed all the other legendary beasts and stuff coming to life, like after Godzilla and Rodan's war of like trying to take control of the creature. Well, now they're all awake and walking around, like all of them. But they did, to me, unless literally every single one of these things come together on one continent, like I don't see, like either one-on-one. I think Kong could take all of them one-on-one. Godzilla could take all of them one-on-one. But like I said, if all 9 of them or whatever it is team up on 2 of them, we're gonna have some cool shit. But
well, that's the thing about Ghidorah. Ghidorah wasn't even of this planet.
That was the.
No, that's true. We can have
the three-headed one.
Yeah,
kind of like the Hydra.
Call it Zero.
Ghidorah.
Oh, yeah.
And then you had Rodan. That was the one that was the Firebird or whatever.
Firebird,
like,
yeah.
And I'm thinking, you're shooting missiles, and this thing just came out of a freaking volcano covered in lava, and you think a damn missile is going to make a difference?
Sarah, you bring up a good point. You know, Godzilla, Mothra, Ghidra, and Rodan. Those are literally the only 4 that they had licensed to use out of all the other Japanese, Godzilla monsters. Like, I don't even know if they have permission to use Mecha Godzilla, but like all his other, they only have those 4. So, which is why when you watch that end credit scene, it's like a giant woolly mammoth that looks like with huge trunks and like it's a giant spider or these other crazy creatures. But Sarah brings a good point up. If they don't have the license to that, he was an alien. So what if something else from his planet or another ancient comes through and it's just some kind of big crazy, they can make their own villain, like their own, a new design of something crazy that they could add in the pantheon of Godzilla villains and Kong, really.
I just felt so bad that they blew up Godzilla's little house, though.
Yeah, because wasn't that cool as shit?
That was so awesome. And I'm like, damn, didn't they nuke the hell out of it? But then again, they gave him like I had forgotten in this movie how he went major nuclear. I mean,
I want to ask about that because so he's apparently getting too hot. He's going to go off like an atom bomb, and he's walking towards the bad guy, the 3-headed thing, and he's melting him. I guess as he's walking towards him, and he steps on him and he explodes. Then he comes back and he's just fine. Like,
doesn't really. It's kind of like my interpretation is like Wonder Woman's gauntlets. Like explodes.
Okay, so he didn't explode.
When Doomsday,
it was almost like a power pulse.
He did that barrier.
Like a pulse.
Okay, that's what I wasn't getting.
Doomsday got all that energy and then did the pulse outward. Same thing. That's what it reminded me of.
Okay.
Because you see his fins even charge up, so like it could have released energy from everywhere when it built up too much. You know what I mean? You can literally see it charge up his fins to shoot out his mouth.
Yeah,
so you know what I'm saying?
That sounds so funny when you say it.
It looked even funny. It looked even funnier whenever you. I did like him at the end when he was charged up like that. When he had the red in him, and you could see it kind of pulsating there. I was like, that does look really cool. I like the way he looks in this.
Soundtrack was good on this, like the visual, like just the sounds of like him charging up or like the pulsating in him and stuff. Just like I love the sound design of this. Godzilla's roar was good. Ghidorah, like Mothra, like I loved all the sounds of this shit. It just sounded good.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. So they never really explain a ton about why the mom and the dad split up, right? That's just one of those things that after the son died, they just went their separate ways because he became drunk and she was obsessed with Monarch, I suppose.
Coping in different ways, I would assume, grew apart.
Okay. Because they didn't really stress on that. I didn't know what to expect with that. But yeah, the wife was a dick. Like, no other way
dick with a capital C.
I couldn't believe it.
That bitch.
And that was,
exactly.
And that was something, you can't say that word, I'll get in trouble. And that was something that I didn't see coming. Like I didn't expect that at all. Dude, they got me good with that one. I'm trying to think what else about this movie. I can't wait to see how big they're going to make Kong next to Godzilla.
Well, I saw another clip today, and like, man, I'm getting more and more pumped for it. So it was like a little 40-second clip, and it's like Godzilla's still. The only thing we've seen are Kong still chained to that boat. Godzilla's coming for him, and it's like, woo, like how? Okay, Kong you're done if you get caught in the water. Like, you better do something special to get Godzilla away, because that is his fucking element. You get down in there, he will drown your ass. He will literally drown you.
Can I be honest? Are you implying that it's going to be like Godzilla's looking for Kong? Because I don't think that's the case. I think from what I see, especially at the end of this, I think Godzilla's doing something, and they're getting Kong to stop Godzilla.
Well, that's what, no, but I'm just saying the trailers they've had, it's like the thing they keep showing is like a collision course on the boats, on the fucking freighter or whatever, like where they're bringing Kong off his island and they're bringing him back. And you're right, Greg. I get the impression that they think Godzilla is doing something, so they're coming after Godzilla and they're going to fight him. We're going to find out that there's a Lex Luthor behind the scenes all along, of another giant monster who's been really.
I'm telling you, it's
Mecha Godzilla.
It's
That's what I mean. That's why I'm saying, because they're going to see it and they're going to say, look, it's Godzilla, look at the shape, look at everything. And then we're going to find out.
I don't think it's going to be like the typical, like.
Right. It's going to be really Monarch in their version that they built out of the old bones and skins of the other two from this movie or something. It's going to be some shit like that.
Yeah, because you see at the very end, one of the last lines is they're like, man, I'm so glad he's, whenever Godzilla is like deep throating that monster right at the very end.
Oh, yeah.
And he's
so hot.
They said something to him, which was a really, really great. Did he eat the entire thing? Did he eat the entire thing and leave nothing but like the neck and the head sticking out and it's still alive while it's being eaten? I was like, that's a really, really weird way to do that. That's really, really taken. That line right there, he says, I'm glad he's on our side. It's a good guy to have on our side. And one guy says, well, he is for now. Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's setting up for the next movie right there. So I think it has something to do. Yet that's actually, you're talking about it being Mechagodzilla and people thinking it's Godzilla. That makes even more sense. Yeah, we just figured out the movie.
We did. We figured it out. Which it's all right. I'm still along for the ride.
Yes.
I'm still along. But like I said, I just can't, like, what are they going to make Mecha Godzilla out of? The regular Godzilla or Kong one-on-one can't just destroy that machine. So like, I don't know. It's going to be, I'm very curious. Like, I can't wait for this movie. Like, I'm a monster fan. You know what I mean? I'm a monsters fan. It's like, let's smash stuff. Let's break stuff. Let's get it in there. Let's get it on.
I think Godzilla is like my spirit animal.
Yeah. Nice. Let's get Judge Mills Lane in there and he can just come out, ding, ding, ding. Let's get it on.
So did Mothra die in this? Like, she's gone.
Well, the director of this one did say that there's a shot in there where you look at something and basically it's implied that Mothra went back down to larva form and will grow again from the cocoon. You know what I mean? Kind of like how they found like little millipede or centipede Mothra thing. Like, it literally went back to a larva and will grow and do the whole process. Now, by the time this movie comes, it's going to be fully grown again. I don't know. They might save that for the third one or for where we go, but I'm pretty sure there's even a scene in there where you see it's like it kind of went down to like a larval form or reverted back.
I would hate to think that she's gone, because I mean, it implies that she sacrifices herself, but then you don't really know how far. Like you said.
Some of those shots were beautiful, and I know it's all animated and stuff, but like when her wings come flapping open, and it's like there's like waterfall and like rainbow kind of stuff on because it's coming over. Oh man, those shots look great. Great.
Oh yeah, I agree. Yeah, the graphics in this are amazing. Like I said, they did a really good job with the monsters.
Absolutely amazing.
I didn't see any of the monsters I looked at, and I was like, "Oh, that looks really, really stupid." And I mean, I guess it's all up to the imagination, and it can be anything. It's a monster, but they did a really, really good job with those. Maybe that's why I think I like Kong so much. Is I love the way he looked. I think they did a great job with that. Just beautiful.
The Skull Island was great.
Yes,
no denying.
That was my favorite of the three we've seen so far. This one's my favorite. Very, very close second. And maybe if I watch this one again, I'll like it a little more. Not that I need to like it more. I might change my mind.
The only thing that kind of threw me off was like you had all these like Godzilla and Ghidorah back there fighting in the background, and then you had everybody in the foreground just kind of doing their thing. I'm like, there's monsters and shit back there, and you're just like, okay, but anyways.
Well,
that was kind of surreal.
Greg, I enjoy Skull Island more for the story, but I enjoy this one more for the actual
action,
just mega beat down and shit. You know what I mean? Like, let's get it on.
I agree with that. Yeah. Skull Island definitely had a better story.
Yeah, there are some really good fights. Although the story in this one was really good, though.
I felt the story's more personalized than Skull Island. They kind of draw it in and draw it out. I in my opinion. But this one's got It's got the monster knockdown, drag out shit that I'm there for it.
And I'm sorry, Godzilla's just badass when he like powers up. When you see it just come like up there, I'm thinking, oh man, it's about to just. And then especially when he turns around and looks at them like, I got some shit to take care of. Excuse me.
Exactly.
Like, he's just that's something like that squishy face. Like he always looks like he's mad because he's like, damn it, all these damn monsters out here. I'm like, let me go take care of this real quick.
Gotta go be dad and shit. Put him in check.
Exactly. Let's take care of these kids.
So when Mothra knocked out, what was it? Rodan. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Stabbed it right through the chest, which where I would guess would be the heart is, but I guess maybe not in this monster, and leaves a hole in it. It falls down, doesn't come back until the end, whenever it's ready to grovel at the knees. Yeah. And I was like, okay, so I guess maybe he just had enough.
Kind of
beat him down.
Yeah. Dominance. It's all about dominance. Like, it's kind of like a pack of wolves, like going for the thing. One wolf on top of the other one will bow down and then just kind of step aside.
Yeah. I really liked him though. The look of that character was great. The Firebird, thought that was really, really cool.
When he comes flying out of that volcano, just dripping lava, and just comes whooshing over and just like destroys everything.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. I love that scene where the wings are just tearing shit up.
What y'all think about the orca?
It was a good plot point. I mean, it's interesting that they have this ability to almost control these beasts with this. Is it like so they can either attracts them, controls them? That I guess just different signals.
It's just like a communication version. Like I said, with like whales. With the different. I mean, I thought it was pretty cool.
It was like Jimmy Olsen's Signal Watch. Is what it reminded me of. When Jimmy Olsen's in trouble and he just hits the little beep, and Superman knows where he's at and come be right there.
Yeah, makes sense.
Because they're all drawn into that. Every time that thing gets turned on, what happens? They start coming in. They keep coming towards it. You know what I mean? They make their way to wherever it's at, and if they can hear it.
I thought it was funny because how they would have like the alpha signal. And I'm like, yeah. Somebody's we have a little pissing contest coming on right here.
So that signal was supposed to just signify, I guess, all of them follow to an alpha, and whichever that.
Well, and that's what the difference was, because you had Ghidorah came down, and in essence was because when he was awakened, that's when all the other ones awakened, because he was at that point the alpha, and then that's when they went, looking for Godzilla, because they're like, okay, well, he's like the true king. So then it's like, okay, it was just that male alpha dominance.
They needed Godzilla to literally be the head of the pack again. They needed because Ghidorah was he woke up all the other giants with this roar fucking thing, and that's why they were wreaking havoc on every other continent. And that's why they had to go nuke Godzilla to get him back on his feet, because they needed him to beat him down. Because when Godzilla was king, when he was the alpha, all these other things lay dormant, and basically Godzilla stayed to himself and just ate weird shit out in the ocean and lived in his cool ass ocean.
He's like, I'm just chilling. He's like, I'm just chilling. I mean? When you need me, I'll be there. But so right now, I'm not trying to cause anything.
They remember what happened in 2014 and them him wrecking towns and shit. But they're like, hey, I'd rather, once every millennia we have him coming and wreck towns than this three-headed beast being up flying around, waking the fucking world up, destroying shit.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So how many monsters do we get in the next movie? Do you think?
I hope all of them.
They only have the rights to so many of them, right? So are we going to see?
Well, like I said, if you watch the end credit scene, you'll see how many they created out of stuff they could use. But his technical real pantheon of villains, quote unquote, or adversaries, the only ones that they had the rights to are the 4 that were in this movie, and that accounts Godzilla among one of the 4.
Okay.
I think that's plenty, honestly. Because that's a lot going on to try to keep up with.
Well, and those are the most prominent, well-known ones. Like, there's other, and I'm sure if there's like Godzilla aficionados out there, they're out there going, well, they don't have the rights to Fliggleflorp, and he does this, and he can really mess Godzilla up. So they have the rights to Squiggly Line, they could.
If you have too many, it gets too discombobulated.
Well, I just mean that I'm sure there's one in there that has a special power against Godzilla that somebody could point out and be like, oh, well, if he was there, he would wreck both of them because he could take him down with this special tail whip thingy jig or the poison bite or whatever. You know what I'm saying? If there's an aficionado out there, I'm sure there's some, I don't know if they're listening to this show, but there's somebody out there that goes, oh, no.
Oh,
you know, who would know?
I'm telling
there
you,
is, yeah.
Mecha Godzilla. That's it.
I agree with you. That's me. That's my prediction.
I don't know enough about it to disagree with you, so I'm on that train with you.
Will it come out in 2 weeks? Right,
Yes,
like
it's
2
not
weeks.
long.
It's
like,
not long. Yeah, this is the last movie we had to cover. We got this. We
Mhm.
got the last Mighty Ducks movie, and then the next 3 weeks is going to be
Review.
new movies: Zack Snyder Justice League, Godzilla versus Kong, and the new Mighty Ducks. So
I just got to keep on living. Just keep on living.
that's right. Just got to make the next few weeks. But yeah. Well, is there anything else y'all want to talk about with
No,
King of the Monsters?
I'm good.
No, this is one of those movies that I could watch over and over again. Just
I'll
because
just
of,
watch
like,
it
the
when
action.
it's on.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like, I want to just see like a badass movie with a surround sound on, so I can like blow the speakers out of my house. That's a perfect one.
Yeah. I'd never seen any of these movies until we started covering them.
Well,
first one's
Godzilla versus Kong is going to be, the dual release, so you stream it and watch it in the theater too. So I know for a fact this crowd, we're going to see it in the theater. I promise you that.
Okay.
And then of course we'll stream it at the house as well. But
I may venture out to go to the theater. I don't think
this
anybody
might be
in my family's
one
gonna go
that
with me, but
would be worth seeing on the.
It'll
big
be
screen.
worth shaking. It'll be worth rattling the theater, because them roars and stuff. Like I saw this movie, King of Monsters, in the theater, and
that was after your father-in-law made you watch Skull Island, right? And you were like, I'm hooked. Good deal. But yeah, I'm excited for it. As soon as the new one comes out, we're going to cover it. I don't know if I'm going to see the new one in the theater or not, but that is interesting. I haven't been to a theater in a long time, and this would be a good one to go see in theater. So I may have to make an exception for that one if I can find a theater open around me, but I'm sure there's one. So
you can always come to Raleigh.
I could.
Yeah, I guys come to Raleigh. I got a perfect one for you.
Yeah. All right. Got anything else? You already got out of here?
That's it. Yes. Let's get out.
We talked about it a lot tonight. Cool deal. All right. Well, then where can they find you at, Nathan?
Here on Friday evenings, live on Super Soul Service channel, and usually every other Sunday morning on the Geekverse channel with Katie at 10 Greg time. That's what I'm gonna say. And then my time 9. Either way, it's come Sunday mornings every other week if you'd like.
And I think next time y'all are doing the Empire, right? Because I think you and I were fooled last time. I was like, y'all are doing episode 5. I want to come on. And then
we definitely were fooled.
Yeah, it's okay. I got tricked into having to rewatch a great movie again. So, Sarah, where can they find you at?
You can find me on Twitter at MyLadyKitten. And obviously, find me here Friday nights. Sometimes you can find me on Tuesday nights, raising a little hell. But other than that, that's about it.
There you go. Check it out. And you can find me at the BatDaddy52 on Twitter. It's a personal handle. And then check out the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network to find all the shows that I'm on. I'm also a part of the C3 Panthers podcast live on Tuesdays, where we talk Carolina Panthers football. But if you find at the BatDaddy52 on Twitter, you'll find everything. So I appreciate everybody listening. Thank you all so much for coming on. And until next week, keep pounding.
See ya.